Hi guys, I'm Scott Speed, driver of this amazing Volkswagen Beetle GRC car. I got good news for the iRacing fam. We got this coming in. I'm currently working on it myself personally to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. With the addition of dirt and now this mean car, it is going to be so fun. And it's going to be available free to all the iRacing members. Personally, I can't wait to get out there and race you guys on it. Hi guys, I'm Scott Speed, driver of this amazing Volkswagen Beetle GRC car. I got good news for the iRacing fam. We got this coming in. I'm currently working on it myself personally to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. With the addition of dirt and now this mean car, it is going to be so fun. And it's going to be available free to all the iRacing members. Personally, I can't wait to get out there and race you guys on it.
Welcome one and all to V8's Online's live broadcast of the Midweek Sportscar Championship, a Tuesday night weekly event here in the AusNZ community, racing now for 2.5 hours on a Tuesday night. We're at Sonoma in the IMSA class cars. The drivers are just qualifying their machines now. My name is Reese Gardiner. Joining me in the commentary box once again, Jay Kennedy. Jay, it's time to go midweek racing again.
Yeah, I love this series. Good fun. Love the multi-class aspect. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. It should be a good fun night. Good fun night, if I can actually get my words out again tonight. I had trouble last night with English. I'm struggling again tonight, but yeah, it should be good fun. We saw the IMSA race here earlier in the week, or late last week. It was really, really entertaining. We saw action the whole way through the race, right up until the checkered flag. And fingers crossed if we get half as much action as we had for that race over this 2.5 hour journey, it should be good fun.
Yeah, certainly should be. This being Sonoma, it's a very tight, twisty track. I would say it's a miniature Nürburgring in many senses. I actually find it more difficult to wheel a car around here than the Nürburgring Nordschleife, amazingly. But yeah, in multi-class, there's definitely some places where cars will come together. That said, the IMSA race last Thursday was, I think, a bit cleaner than a lot of people expected, at least in the Daytona prototype and GTE class. So who knows? We might see some good, clean driving between the classes here at the long layout of Sonoma.
Yeah, we saw a really good battle between Lewis Gallon and also Wayne Burke in the DP class. So some good battles in the GTE class. GT3 got fairly messy with only 3 finishes, but Ross Rizzo, who picked up the win, he's been very, very quick tonight in the GT3 class. So a little bit down in numbers. We're at 7 in the DP class, 8 in GTE and 6 in GT3. Hopefully there'll be a couple of stragglers coming through at the last minute with 5 minutes left in qualifying. And then we've got 2.5 hours of racing, as you just said before, racing. A couple of extra rules being brought in with some fuel drop restrictions as well, just to mix up the field a little bit as well.
Yeah, certainly. Reduced fuel tank sizes. I believe it's a 60% 60% capacity for the DPs and somewhere around 50% for the GT3s. Not too sure on the Daytona prototype restriction.
60%. For that, yep. So 60% for the DP, 50% for GTE, and 45% for GT3.
Oh wow, that's even less than I remember. That's really going to spice things up a bit. Much shorter stint lengths, and with the reduced race length of 2.5 hours, Reese says as he bites his tongue very painfully. Yeah, it should definitely feel like a sort of accelerated regular length endurance race. You know, usually endurance races are about 6 hours or thereabouts, but yeah, with that reduced stint length, it's going to be like being on fast forward.
Yeah, which will add an extra element these guys maybe not used to, running those full stints that we saw the last round that we broadcast, round 1 at Suzuka, effectively half as long for most of the guys. So the GTE cars, I'm going to guess they went about an hour, so that'll be half an hour in length. GT3 cars usually go about 1:10 to a tank, I'm fairly sure, for GT3. Yep. So that'll be around about half an hour. And we saw 50 minutes or thereabouts for the DP class, about 60%. That makes it around about half an hour. So we should see all the guys come in for pit stops fairly much together, which in a way is good because it's going to eliminate that bizarre traffic issue that you can have at Sonoma, where you come out of the pits and you're right on the racing line with other drivers, with other cars. So fingers crossed we won't see any accidents there, but I'm sure we will see some carnage throughout the field, as the rate of attrition has been pretty severe in this class in both IMSA and also in the Midweek Sportscars.
Yeah, it should also make it easier for us up here in the commentary box. We won't have to keep tabs on 3 different forms of strategy throughout the field. Everyone will be doing pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier. Just seeing Scott Larnack in the number 125 Evolution Racing Team Ferrari. He's just gone quickest again in his class. Just posted the fastest time, 1:24.7. Very, very good lap.
Very good lap indeed. And like in the DP class, Lewis Gallon in the HRS TTR machine having an absolutely stonking margin actually over the number 67 Performance Motorsports car with Clint Smith in there. Gallon's got like 1.3 seconds over Clint Smith, and around a track like Sonoma where there's not many acceleration zones and you're basically coasting through corners all the way through the lap. That's quite a margin to get.
Yeah, very, very tough to gain that sort of gap back for Clint Smith and the rest of the DP field, but very, very tight from there, from Smith to Seb Murray-Westberg in third for Redback Racing Team Black, and then the Torque Inc. car. It's only 0.4 of a second separating those guys. So it's very, very tight.
Yeah, it is very tight. Warren Pickering was the guy who set the 22.25 in the Redback car. Yep. Currently in last place in the Daytona Prototype class is One Performance Racing, Scotty Harris at the wheel of that machine. Awesome guy, Scotty Harris. Had the pleasure of meeting him in Sydney at the start of February. Absolutely awesome guy. Looks like having a little bit of trouble setting down lap times with the rest of the DP field in that car, but yeah, I have faith that he'll be able to work it out and be able to stick with them in the race.
The big advantage though with a 2.5 hour race, as long as you can keep it on the track, you're usually in with a shot.
Oh yeah,
so,
of course.
Being safe is often as important as being fast. There's no point being ultra quick and not being able to control the car. So if you can just lap it around, who knows what could happen. I do know that right on cue, he's just looped it around. I do know that the Torque Inc. guys have done as per normal, zero practice. They've jumped into practice session, realised they're way off the pace, and decided that they don't want a livery on their car because they don't want people to know who they actually are. So that blue, white and black car, that is a Torque Inc. car, and they are pathetic tonight. So in saying that, they will get better as the race goes on. So I would suspect them to be fighting with Smith at the end of the race.
Yeah, they're definitely a team to watch out for. Not Torque Inc. So yeah,
not Torque.
I look forward, Jay, to also making more esoteric, unfunny references to fast food burgers and sandwiches with respect to car positions throughout the course of this race, and I look forward to you greeting me with silence whenever I say one of those.
For sure, I will give you plenty of silence. I just about choke on my coffee that I just had a sip on. It's a little bit too hot. Excuse me. I wasn't ready for that. I've lost my train of thought. On screen at the moment, Dylan Shepherd, the checkered flag's just come out. He is P2 in the GT3 class. I was about to say the lap that he's on at the moment, he could actually have been fighting for pole, but he just ruined it right on cue. Commentator's curse in full effect there.
Well, Dylan Shepherd then pulling into the pits for One Performance Racing. Looks like the pole sitter in GT3 is definitely going to be Ross Rizzo in that Pro Force Racing Kiani car. Yeah, those times in GT3 are looking rather close between Shepherd and Rizzo. Meanwhile, the two Fusion Sim Racing cars are looking fairly consistent relative to each other.
Not much between those two cars, is there, in times?
No, definitely not. Like 246 and 247 flying in formation. Jeff Rahali, meanwhile, driving in the Pleb Simsport car. I know Rahali's usually a One Performance Racing driver, so obviously helping out mates.
Yeah, on loan at the moment.
Indeed. Performance Motorsports Chassis 4 on a 128.3 with Daryl Carter at the wheel. They'll be looking to make some improvements, and looks like there's a Daytona prototype down in the field.
There's two actually that haven't put in a lap. Daniel Trim and Tim Fultz haven't put in laps. But Sean Thompson crossing the line is the last guy to do a lap. We might actually run through the grid race before we've got the chance, because everyone has now finished qualifying. So the HRS TTR car, Lewis Perla Gallon, will start from P1. PMS number 67, Clint Smith at the wheel of that one, will start second. Redback Racing Team Black in third. Torque Inc. in fourth. Fifth will be One Performance Racing. And there's I was just going to say there's two others as well. We've got the number 6 and the number 045. They'll start from the rear of the field in the DP class.
And heading up your GTE class is going to be the number 125 Evolution Racing team entry with Scott Larnack at the wheel, followed by Sky VR46 Racing. That would be Paul Mansell driving that car at the moment. Evolution Racing team taking up third place as well in the 116. Blake Neck in that car. Laser Racing taking up position 4. Michael Hammond in that car. Natari Autosports with James Foster bringing up the position behind. Number 185, Proforce Racing GTI with Sean Thompson at the wheel after that. And rounding up your GTE grid is going to be Performance Motorsports Chassis 3, Wayne Taylor at the wheel.
Yeah, next we've got Ross Rizzo in the Proforce Racing Chiani 284. He'll start from the front of the GT3 field. Right beside him will be One Performance Racing's Dylan Shepherd. Then you've got the Fusion Sim Racing twins side by side, the 246 and the 247. Nothing really separating those two in the times, only 0.07 of a second, with Trent Thomas in the 246 and Alex Bird in the 247. And you've got Pleb Sim Sport with Jeff Rahali at the wheel. And then Performance Motorsport Chassis number 4, Daryl Carter at the wheel of that car. And then you've also got a GTE car back there as well, Michael Taliancic for Performance Motorsport Chassis 2. He is also actually put in a lap, so he is ahead of the other 2 Daytona prototypes.
Yes, indeed. Well, all the field are forming up, and the staging time is rapidly drawing to a close, so the safety car is going to lead all these guys away around magnificent Sonoma Raceway on the opposite side of San Francisco Bay in California. Absolutely fantastic circuit, has been around since the early 1970s. It's been through a lot of changes since it started in terms of the facilities and in minor cases the way the track is configured, but it's largely the same to drive, at least in terms of the racing line, that it was when it opened, which is really cool.
It's a really amazing track. It's so different from other American tracks. It's such a unique circuit, I believe. It's probably my favourite American track, and I've said it many, many times before how much I love this place. Picked up one of my first V8 Supercar wins and my best ever V8 Supercar result at this track, so it's always got a special place for me, this track. But I absolutely love it. I love the undulation, I love the camber and the way that the corners actually work. And the curbs are just so aggressive as well. Some you can be really, really aggressive on, and others you can't go even near. So, and cool with the extra layout running down the drag strip as well. So see a couple of extra passing spots from what we would normally see in the V8 Supercar running this layout.
Yeah, certainly will, and that start area is quite an interesting part of the circuit, especially if you're in the middle of a field of cars. It's basically like a street circuit. You got walls on either side. Interestingly, that start area is actually not an original addition to the track. It's actually to the left of where the start area used to be. Start-finish line was located on the drag strip just to the right, so that was moved at some point to allow racing to continue. And this turn that the pace car is going through right now, this hairpin, looks like a double apex. Didn't used to be, though. All of those extra little layout alternatives around that hairpin actually didn't used to be there. Those were pretty late additions in the track's life. And as they go through the S's here and over the crest of this hill, where the track splits off to go to the Indy layout, that actually used to be a giant hill, and the track used to run right alongside the base of the hill, much like McPhillamy Park used to be at Mount Panorama. So a little bit of interesting information there for all you viewers.
Definitely a cool track, especially when it's green after some rain too. It looks so different when it's green, but I think the pace car's about to pull in now, as it does. So under control of Luis Palo-Gallon, and he goes very early.
Yeah, he certainly does. Luis Gallon leading the way out of the final turn at Sonoma. The green flag is going to fly, and the Daytona Prototype field is going to go racing. A little bit of jostling back in the GTE field already, going too wide out of the hairpin. Wow, goodness me. And like a pretty clean start from most of our field.
Clean start the whole way through. Look at the twins for Fusion Sim Racing side by side over the start-finish line. The only ones that weren't in single file throughout the whole field.
Yeah, we got Michael Hammond and Blake and Paul Mansell, sorry, battling really hard in GT at the moment. It's Michael Hammond,
Blake
nearly
Nex,
going.
Sorry, Blake Nex actually got a good jump. He's actually jumped Paul Mansell, who was starting in second. And they've pulled away, those two.
Yeah, doing very well, the Evolution Racing team, boys. And Paul Mansell, of course, slowed up a bit by going side by side with Michael Hammond through the opening turns of the lap. But looks like Mansell's gotten everything together and has gapped Hammond already. Hammond looking like he has a tiny bit of front-end damage on his Ferrari. Getting a little spirited in the opening laps.
He would have slammed that curb that's a little bit off camber, and that would have caused that little bit of damage to the front. I don't think it's going to hurt him too much, but we'll find out.
Trent Thomas has gone off, meanwhile, in GT3 for Fusion Sim Racing out of the hairpin. That's very unfortunate. So he's lost 2 positions out of that on first lap, and now he's getting harassed by Daryl Carter in Performance Motorsports Chassis 4.
Interesting, the other 2 Daytona prototypes that we were talking about starting at the rear of the field, they actually have not connected to the race. They've actually dropped out and are not racing this event. So only have the 5 in the DP class once again. Saying that, we still had a great race last time we broadcast this series, and looks like it's going to be nice and tight between Pickering and Dodman, who's in the talking car at the moment, and Clint Smith. So those guys fighting for the second position at the moment. Smith has pulled away a little gap between Pickering and Dodman, but Dodman's sticking right with Pickering.
Certainly is. Meanwhile, in GTE as well, looking like some close racing between Natari Autosports and Pro Force Racing. Sean Thompson right on the back of James Foster through the opening turns, and still making himself known in Foster's mirrors. Have a look here at the hairpin. Thompson pulls out and goes for the dive. Foster is going to see him coming and just go wide, just give him enough room. We're going to go side by side out of the hairpin.
Hammond, big jump over the curb and across the grass just ahead.
Wow. Oh, have a look at this battle behind him, though. Looks like Thompson got a bit slowed up, and now that's allowed Wayne Taylor to try and get something out of this battle. So this is a little bit of a 3-car train forming in at the back end of GTE already on lap 2 of this race.
It's going to be good fun battles the whole way through this field, so we'll have plenty of action to show. The front of GT3, Ross Rizzo's pulled out a bit of a gap, but the rest of the field is all fairly close.
Certainly is, and meanwhile, Lewis Gallon just driving away from the rest of the Daytona prototype field at the front there. Like Redback and Torque Inc. are still locked together. Of course, it may look like they are quite far apart, but they are in the fastest class, and it's in a bit more of an aerodynamically sensitive machine as well, the DP. So this is usually what would be considered quite close racing in the Daytona prototype class. But we'll see what Dodman can do versus Pickering. See if no practice, as you said, Jay, he can catch up to the back of Redback, who I know are very committed to their prototypes. They love their prototype racing.
A little bit of inside info though from the Redback Racing cars. It looks like Pickering will do 1 stint, then Seb will jump in for 2 stints, and then Pickering will do a double stint at the end.
All right. Of course,
inside
Seb
info.
Murray, very nice, and Seb Murray Westberg, obviously with his new recording setup, got himself basically what I've got at the moment, a Blue Yeti mic and a Rode PSA-1 mic stand. So good on you, Seb.
Copycat.
Your voice is sounding much better.
I'll leave that one go. Not going to scare all the children anymore.
Jesus. Come on, Jay. You know I sounded better when I got my ears.
I know. Yeah, I know. It is Seb. We're allowed to pick on him. The Natari Autosports. Geez, we're only 5 minutes in and we're already pulling out the big guns. Natari Autosport and Pro Force Racing GTI. Those guys are very, very tight and close. They just did very similar lap times for their last lap. And just behind, Thompson's just looped it.
Oh dear, that is not good at all. He's up on the hill as the GT3 field goes by, and he's turning his car in a very interesting place to try and avoid making too much of a fuss as he re-enters the track.
He's got to be more worried about actually causing aero damage to the car, getting back out on the track like that, though.
Yeah, that's enough to make the most hardened man cringe, seeing a car go over bumps like that. Can't imagine what the floor of that Ferrari must be like. Of course, the GTE car's quite sensitive to aero damage, having produced quite a bit of their downforce through those big honking diffusers at the back. But Sean Thompson will make his way back to the pits most likely, unless he still finds the car to his liking.
Interesting battle on screen at the moment. The two Evolution Racing Team Ferraris. You got Scott Larnack ahead of Blake Neck. These two guys are just pulled away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, Evolution Racing Team doing very well in a lot of championships recently, and really making their mark in the sports car racing area of the iRacing Oz NZ community, and also in the international sim racing community as well. Of course, recently changing their name from Evolution Racing Australia to Evolution Racing Team to reflect their new sort of looking outwards international sort of direction.
They've got some pretty accomplished drivers in that group of guys in that team too. So, of course, the most recent signing, a driver that we saw a lot of back 2012, 2013, Anton De Pasquale, disappeared off the iRacing radar because he went to Europe to race open wheel cars over there. He's come back to Australia and done very, very well in the Dunlop series of the Super 2 V8 Supercar series. Picking up a win at Phillip Island not that long ago.
Yeah, certainly. That's a pretty big signing there for ERT to be able to get the services of Anton.
Yeah, actually did a very good job in pre-qualifying for the Premier Series weekend just gone, but then unfortunately got a late call-up to go and do some laps at Queensland Raceway on Sunday and couldn't make the Premier Series race, but he actually pre-qualified in 4th right behind his teammate Ian Ford, so would have been good to see him out on track there. As we see, Scotty Harris is facing the wrong direction just ahead of those ERT cars.
Yeah, Scotty Harris noticed he's having a couple of problems with that machine, and looks like he's got a little bit of aero damage on the front, but fortunately he's managed to get that going without coming together with the GTE cars, so that's good to see.
Yeah, we've spoken about the aero damage on the front previously. We were talking about it at Suzuka. It's not a huge issue having it at the front. If you get damage at the back, you can have all sorts of drama, but at the front it's not quite as painful.
Certainly not. Well, having a look at Paul Mansell just up ahead, noticing superior aero grip of the Daytona prototype is really on show through this latter half of the circuit, as you see Scotty Harris getting larger in Paul Mansell's mirrors at an alarming rate. They come into the hairpin, the aero grip goes and mechanical grip takes over, of which the GTE cars have a little bit more than the DPs, if not around the same amount. See Scotty Harris making a move into turn 1 here, and Mansell sees him coming and lets him go. Both of them lose minimal time.
Oh, right on cue. Harris has just gone straight ahead. He's having all sorts of dramas.
Oh, that's a real shame. Well, once again he's managed to be able to get that back on track without affecting any cars around him, so he's hoping he'll be able to continue on.
Prediction for tonight's race will be 110 laps. We were pretty close with our prediction in the last round of this series that we broadcast, so we'll see how close we are this time. I think we're out by 2 laps over a 3-hour journey, which wasn't too bad. See how we go tonight.
Yeah, certainly will.
Trent Thomas is starting to catch back up after that little whoopsie-doo he had earlier. It's actually dropped in behind Daryl Carter. He was... Oh, no, sorry, that was Wayne. No, sorry, I'm thinking of another incident. I'll just shut up. take
No
over race
worries,
before I
Jay.
make too much of a fool of myself.
Don't worry, Jay. I think we're both well past that point. Might as well dig ourselves deeper.
Anyone that's watched our broadcast before know how far we dig our own holes.
Yes, indeed. But Trent Thomas reporting a little bit of front-end damage on his Mercedes, which I doubt would be affecting his speed all that much, because we've seen GT3s in the past with quite substantial visual damage, but the actual damage of the car has been negligible at best. So Trent Thomas, let's have a look at lap times. Daryl Carter's last lap was a 28.79. 28.8 from Trent Thomas. As they come across the line, Carter does a 28.9 and a 28.85 from Trent Thomas, so he caught Carter a little bit on that lap.
Scotty Harris has just had another issue and he's removed himself from the track and gone back to the pit, so I'll just quickly get a replay of what exactly happened, but it looks like it might be night done for Scotty Harris.
Yeah, just looking at that quick replay on screen, he comes through the S's at the opening of the lap and goes off track over the hill.
He's done it at the same spot again. That's the third time he's done it in that spot, so I think he's had enough.
Yeah, I know from experience driving the Daytona prototype, and my teammates at Fusion Racing will know very well how I feel about that car. It has a bit of a tendency to rotate mid-corner that, you know, most people may like, but there are definitely those of us out there that like our cars to turn when we turn the steering wheel.
I do remember that you used to have a very, very hateful relationship to the old Daytona prototype as well, the old Riley Daytona prototype. I do remember a few words that you used to call that car that we can't repeat.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Don't spill your cup of tea, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting times back then. But
they were good times.
Yeah, they were. They definitely were. But in All-Star Shootout 2, I drove the Riley Daytona prototype for basically the first time in years, and found myself enjoying it somewhat. So
No. You could not be enjoying that car.
Jay,
Not after the things that you said about it.
Yeah, well, back then I was a much worse driver. So
Does that mean that I may still hate it, I guess?
I suppose so. I mean,
because I'm still terrible.
Take from that what you will, but yeah, I don't know. It's either me getting better or Stockholm syndrome. I'm sure some of you out there will say it's Stockholm syndrome, but yeah, absence makes the heart grow fonder and all that.
I'm bored with the talking car. Hayden Dodman at the wheel at the moment. Not looking as smooth as the two ahead of him in the DP class, but as I said, no practice for this team. They jumped in, realised how terrible they were, made sure that their liveries weren't available for anyone else to see.
You really pull no punches, do you?
You're allowed to on your teammates.
Uh-huh.
When you've got two guys that are the quality of these two that don't practice and should be right up towards the pointy end, you're allowed to pick on them as much as you like.
Right.
Is that fair enough?
Yeah, that is fair enough. I can't talk crap about my Fusion Sim Racing teammates. They're good guys. They pay their dues.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. Quite a bit, actually.
In saying that, I shouldn't pick on Mitch too much. Yeah, he's actually leading the V8 Supercar official championship at the moment. So.
Oh. Is he now?
Can you believe that?
Oh,
it's been 5 years since I said that.
Suppose I'll have to believe it, eh?
I still don't believe it, but it's true. If it wasn't actually in front of me, I wouldn't believe it, but it is true. The battle for the Evolution Racing Team cars at the front of GTE, that's actually closed up.
Oh yeah,
it's closing up very quickly
close.
too. So in the last little bit, it's dropped from 8 tenths down to 4 tenths in the last half of this lap. Get the comparison lap times between these two cars as they cross the line here.
25.8 from Larnack. 25.7 from Blake Neck. Oh. Oh, this is the plot is thickening.
We're not far off the first round of pit stops either. Around about 15 minutes or so between from pit stops for all of the cars in this class. Actually, there's an issue for James Foster. He's off the track at turn 1.
Just getting back on track ahead of Wayne Taylor.
Trying to replay and see exactly what's happened to the Atari Autosports car. Good to see we've got a couple of Fords out there tonight. We only saw, I don't think we saw one in the first round, did we?
I'm fairly...
Oh, we had one, I think.
Yeah, I think we had one, but yeah, it looks like a fairly basic case of just over-rotating under brakes, not enough load on the rear tyres, and the car just went around, which to be fair to Mr. Foster is a very easy thing to do in that turn 1 at Sonoma. Quite a difficult corner to set a car up right for.
It's on for 5th and 6th in GT3. Daryl Carter, Trent Thomas. It's down to about 0.3 of a second. It's just spread out just as we got to it after watching the replay of that last incident. But Thomas looks a lot quicker, at least on the timesheets, through the second half of the lap and the start of the new lap, whereas through the middle it looks like Carter's got the car set up potentially a little bit better.
Yeah, that definitely looks to be the case as they come through this very quick right-hander, which can be quite frustrating if you get it wrong. Into this hairpin, no runoff at all, basically. Looks like they've both got pretty good launches off that hairpin. It's very strange, that hairpin. You basically have to straight line the exit after turning the car in a bit more than you think in the early part of the corner in order to get a good exit onto the start finish straight. But yeah,
it's just behind those guys. Have a look at who's there and have a look at how close those 3 DP cars are.
Yes, indeed.
They've closed up. The Redback Racing car was only 0.8 of a second behind at the start finish line. It's starting to get into traffic.
Wide. Yep, so Trent goes wide to let Clint Smith through.
This will help the Redback and Torque teams because Smith being the first one there, they won't be as aware. They know Gallon's gone through and well and truly ahead, but they won't be quite as ready for the next car. And then they're already prepared for the cars behind now, so this will help close the gap between the number 67, the number 18 and the number 40.
Yeah, I think Smith might have a bit of an advantage here because Pickering's having to compromise his line slightly to get by Carter in the S's, and of course have a look here at Hayden. He's got 2 GT3s and the battle between FSR and Performance Motorsports is really closed up now. Now they've got a GTE car to contend with. That's Sean Thompson. The Thompson's going to go by Thomas.
This is actually for actual position because Thompson is out of sequence because of that issue he had earlier. Remember he had that spin, so let's put him back in the field.
Traffic really spicing things up there.
That's what we want.
Yep, certainly. Let's have a look at Sean Thompson trying to find his way past Daryl Carter in this opening part of the lap. Very difficult to do in a GTE coming through the GT3 field because you can't quite make use of the GTE's superior high-speed grip in this opening part of the lap. But let's have a look at what Thompson can do through this next part of the lap. The long sweeping left-hander that goes downhill onto the back straight, onto the brief excursion onto the drag strip. Look at how much he's closing up. He even has to compromise his grip midway through the corner a little bit, but then gets that launch, and he sets himself up nicely for a pass at the hairpin. So Carter sees him coming, just goes a bit wide to let him through, and away they go.
In the end. Go back to the battle for second, third in DP classes, down to 0.9 of a second again. Closing once more, and Smith's used way too much curb through that through the chute. Unsettles the car, and have a look at how quickly Pickering's closed up.
Yeah, have a look at how close Smith got to the wall there. Quite easy to do, and Pickering also got a bit over-spirited on the throttle coming out of the hairpin, so they both lost a bit of advantage through there. But look at Pickering close up here. Another GT3 car This is Alexander Bird. Oh no! Clint Smith turning around Alexander Bird in the chicane, and oh my
extra
goodness.
contact as well.
Yep, extra contact. Oh, that is not what you want to see. I think, I mean, I know my perception might be coloured because that was one of my team cars, but up the inside of that turn, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Clint was definitely coming up quite quickly, but yeah, going up the inside at that turn
I actually think
rarely ends well.
Looking at the onboard there, I think Bird actually gave him enough room, and Smith clipped the curb on the inside, and that's caused him to actually go wider than expected and make contact. So there was actually a bit of netcode contact in that too. So
that is a real shame.
Very unfortunate for both cars. That's removed the battle that we were starting to see between the Redback, Torque and PMS cars, and Smith has damage and is limping it back to the pits. So this will put him out of sequence as well while he gets his damage fixed.
Yeah, have a look at how much that car's crabbing as he goes into the pit lane.
I think it was that second bit of contact there as well that's caused the issue.
Yeah, it definitely was. Not much that really could be done about that though. Bird was a bit out of control at that point.
Yep. Hard thing about multi-class racing is that sort of incident can happen very, very easily.
Yeah, especially around a track like Sonoma, where quite narrow, there's big curbs, so many slow turns that flow right into each other, but Clint Smith goes into his pit box and sets about getting that damage repaired.
Sean Thompson on screen at the moment, chasing down Jeff Rahali. Gonna round him up around the outside. No. Let's go. Which way do we go? Which way do I go?
Yeah, that's
wasn't sure which way then.
It's really hard to sort of tell as Thompson way overshoots the braking into the hairpin and allows Rahali to pull back up alongside, but then he's able to get on the throttle and just get another little bit of a launch. Yeah, through that section of the track, there's always that slight little curve to the left, so if you go to the inside on the exit of the downhill left-hander, you're kind of stuck on the left-hand side coming into the braking zone, so you both end up losing a bit more time than you probably need to.
So Clint Smith has made his way back out on the track after making his pit stop. 47-second stop. His car actually doesn't look too bad in regards to damage after that, so maybe not as bad as we thought. So hopefully he can continue on and move up the field, back up towards where the rest of the drivers were in his class.
Yeah,
just behind him, Pickering and Dodman. There's nothing between them now.
Yeah, looking really, really close between these guys. Redback versus Torque Inc. You can already see Dodman sort of moving around a little bit in the braking zone. Pickering goes a little more wide on exit, but is able to get a better launch. One of the things you can do at this track. Of course, one thing that you need to consider, especially in these Daytona prototypes, is aero push. Through this back half of the circuit, all these fast turns that are quite flat, being the following car is not always the best position to be in, because you got all that upset air coming off the car in front. As that washes over the front of your car, it really unstabilizes the front end, and you don't get quite as much front end grip as you would probably like to. They make their way past Wayne Taylor now as they come into turn 1. Look at how much Dolbin's closing up here as they come over the crest at turn 2. And just clipping those curbs. Oh, Dodman. Of course, his tyres are going to be dirty, so he's going to then lose ground once again.
Just worked so hard to close it back up, and then a little error like that actually has caused a little bit of damage to the front of the car too, going off the track like that. But we mustn't be far away from these guys making their first pit stop as well.
Yeah, certainly. 27 or so minutes race time as we speak. Going through the S's once again. It's a deceptively short track, this Sonoma, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and when you run even on the cup layout, it's amazingly short how quick it actually goes by. I know, going back to the V8 Supercar again, but it's the car that I've driven the most around this track.
Yeah, it's the car we broadcasted the most around this track.
Yeah, true. Depending on your ratio, you may not even... Oh, sorry, there's a change of position in GTE. Larnack's off the track.
Oh, is too, and that looks like Blake Neck is now leading the GTE class. It'd be interesting to see what happened there.
A replay coming up on screen now. Looks like he's done it all by himself.
Yeah, just coming over the crest, the car got unsettled. Ah, that is really frustrating. He's made quite heavy contact with the wall too.
That was huge into the wall.
Oh, I wonder what kind of damage he'll be suffering right now.
It's continuing on, which is a good sign.
Yep. In the driver's side door too. Goodness, if he was in a real car, he'd probably be nursing a few broken ribs.
I would be guessing he'd have at least a couple of broken ribs.
Probably some broken vertebrae as well.
Potentially.
But Larnack pulls into the pits. He'll be looking to get that damage repaired. Real shame.
Back to this battle in the DP class. Got Dodman chasing Warren Pickering.
Even closer this time once again.
Nothing between them now. And they've got a slower car as well.
James Foster.
Yeah.
Oh, Pickering's trying to find a way around the outside, but it looks like Foster was already trying to let him through on the inside. So that's so close to making rear quarter contact there. That's allowed Dobman to close right up to Pickering. As my throat gets irritated slightly.
Very good, mate. This has been a fantastic battle. One that we suspected would come in this sort of style as the race continued on. The talking guys would get quicker.
Have a look at Dodman. He's using all the road on the entry to the downhill left.
Yeah, and more too. All the road plus extra.
Yep. Come down this back stretch. Yeah, going back to what we were saying before, Jay, this track, Sonoma, is like it feels way longer than it actually is because there's so much you need to do around a lap around here. So many corners that you've got to set yourself up for way in advance, and so many elevation changes you have to contend with. It's amazing when you come back across the start-finish line, you think, oh, already?
Yeah, it's amazing how quick it goes by. The big thing for me is you're on the gears so much. Like in the V8 Supercar, depending on your setup, you may not even use 6th gear. In the NASCAR Cup car, you may not use top gear, depending on the way you've set up your car and your ratios. So
yeah,
to think that a NASCAR here will only use first, second and third, and often only second and third, is pretty amazing. And all you're doing for the whole lap is changing gears and turning the wheel. I think it's about 80% of the lap you're on the wheel. It's amazing how much you're doing. The longest actual straight is the little chute down the front of the track, and I don't think you have the wheel straight for much more than 3 or 4 tenths of a second.
Yeah, it's an absolutely crazy circuit, Sonoma. Isn't it interesting, though, to think of that, the dichotomy in America between oval circuits and road courses? You got the ovals that, you know, oftentimes, depending on the series and the track, they're, you know, super fast, hugely banked turns, cars routinely going over 250 kilometers an hour, basically average speed around the ovals. And then aside from a few exceptions like, for example, Road America, Miller Motorsports Park, maybe even Sebring, a sizable portion of road courses in the United States are like Sonoma. They're very short, they're very twisty, they're very hilly. They've got, you know, they're basically as far from an oval as you can get.
Yeah, there's some amazing circuits. Probably lucky that we've got them on iRacing. We'll see them throughout all our different series, and one for tomorrow night. The best example of that is Laguna Seca, which will go to tomorrow night for the start of the Formula Renault series. Very, very similar in the way it's laid out with the camber and the hills So we see Dodman now right back on the tail again as they come past. Pretty sure that's Alexander Bird. Dodman sticks a nose up the inside.
And Bird's blinking.
He's
so
disappeared.
this is going to be bad for the DPs behind him.
They both checked up because they didn't know where he was. They were very unsure. Now, they're going to make it 3 wide here.
Yep. One side versus another.
That's all right. Actually, it was worked out quite well.
Yeah, it did.
Pickering had got it done before the braking zone, and Dodman got it done through the braking zone, and neither of them, or none of the cars, have lost any time at all.
That's a relief.
Pit stops have started in GTE. Ross Rizzo in the lane, Jeff Rahali in the lane, and Dylan Shepherd has also made his stop. Shepherd is now just jumping ahead, and Lewis Gallon now in the pits as well.
I believe you should flip that E around to make a 3.
Yes, you are correct. I definitely should, and I will. GT3 class. Getting my colours all mixed up tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going colourblind.
Exits the pits.
Dodman and Pickering both in the DP class as well. So the front 3 in DP all in. Exactly 30 minutes of racing.
Yes, indeed. And it looks like Michael Taliancic in the Performance Motorsports Chassis 2 Ferrari picking his way through the GT3 field. He's got a fair margin to the next placed GT, is the Pro Force car. Sean Thompson just crossing the start-finish line now. And making his way past Michael Hammond. Looks like quite a long stop for Hammond.
Yeah, 17.7 second stop. He's the first of the runners to make his stop in the GTE class. I got it right this time. As Blake Neck is in the pits.
Right, so that's your lead GTE there.
Oh, Blake Neck's just hit the pit wall.
Oh my goodness, and huge damage on the front of that car.
Yeah, I think he was busy concentrating on something else, adjusting his fuel or something, and he hasn't noticed the pit wall, and he's just slammed it. We're going to replay that.
Oh, amazing. Oh my goodness. You know what? When I was racing in IMSA on Thursday night and I was practicing my pit stops, I kept going past that that sort of branch of concrete, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be hilariously horrible if I went straight into that? And unfortunate for Blake Neck and ERT, so that's both of their cars that have made a mistake in this race.
Oh, so that's Paul Mansell now leading the class, saying that Neck's got out and he doesn't look like he's hurt too bad. It'll be interesting to see how he goes pace-wise now that he's back out on track.
Ferrari looking quite sad, though.
Yeah, it doesn't quite look like a Ferrari should. Not as crippled as we thought it would be. At least they got the bonnet back down.
Still got a fair amount of what looks to be visual pace, at least, in that ERT Ferrari.
Driver swap for the Torque Inc. team. Mitchell McLeod in the car now. It's actually cost them about 13 seconds in the stop to make a driver swap. As Pickering continues on for the Redback car, so our information that we were told was wrong. Thanks, Seb.
Sounds like old days at V8's Online when I was the pit reporter.
Where
Andrew
everyone
Osaya
would give you wrong information on purpose just to see if it would come through the broadcast.
Yep.
Yeah. We still get that.
That was always fun. Yep. Nothing. The more things change, the more they stay the same, I suppose.
Nothing like people trolling the commentary box by giving us wrong info about pit strategy. So Mansell in, Foster in, so that's pretty much the whole field. I think Michael Taliancic is the last car to make a stop, and he continues on for one more lap.
Yep, looks like Paul Mansell staying in that VR46 car.
After the
engine quite a bit.
After the pit stops, Clint Smith's managed to make his way back onto the lead lap, which is good. So we've got 4 on the lead lap in the DP class. We've got 7. All 7. Sorry, 7 of our 8 GTE cars all on the same lap, and 5 out of the 6 in our GT3 class all on the same lap. Driver change for the Performance Motorsport Chassis 4, with Grant Hines now behind the wheel of that car.
Foster and Thompson in GTE, meanwhile, have made their pit stops. Thompson is just getting ready to go now.
Foster's already back out on the track. Michael Hammond's actually been a big winner out of the pit stops. He's actually come out ahead. He was battling with Foster earlier. He's still behind Mansell, but Blake Neck leading from Mansell. We'll keep an eye on the lap times of the number 116 Evolution Racing Team Ferrari over the next few laps. Keep an eye on, see how it's going for pace.
Certainly shall. Just quickly looking at the Talking versus Redback battle, which will undoubtedly be continuing very soon. 23.6 from Warren Pickering on the last lap.
23.0 for McLeod last lap.
It's a 23.0 for Pickering as well. So
time, yeah.
those Daytona prototype tyres have come up to temperature. Reminder that the DPs don't use tyre warmers. So they spend the first lap out of the pits, or the first 2 laps, sliding around and generally making life difficult for their drivers.
McLeod's having internet issues. He's just disappeared altogether. There he is. He's back. Have a look at the lap times between Pickering and McLeod last lap by.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you could say they're exactly the same time.
Yeah,
23.095 versus a 23.093. Nothing between them.
That is absolutely crazy. 0.002 of a second between them, so really looking forward to seeing how that battle plays out. Of course, Talk Inc. at the disadvantage because of the driver swap, but Redback will be planning to swap drivers a future stint anyhow, so that'll bring the cars right back together.
No compulsory driver swaps required, but a lot of teams are doing it purely, one, they like to have a bit of fun, so they'll race together as a team, and 2, you can actually get pretty exhausted, especially around a track like this, doing this all by yourself. So I know I wouldn't want to do a 2.5-hour race by myself.
Yeah, I was ready to keel over and die after about 45 minutes. Can't imagine what driving around here for 2.5 hours would be like.
Probably a good thing that the field's a little bit spread, because if you're battling very aggressively for a whole stint or even 2, you'd have absolutely nothing left.
Yeah, certainly. Blake Neck making his way past Trent Thomas. His quest to try and get some positions back. Actually, hold on a minute. Looks like ERT are still leading the race.
Yeah, ERT, Blake Neck's still leading. Yeah, so he actually.
So what happened to the 125? It's
125 is now 4 laps down. Remember, it spun into the driver's side door into the fence.
Yeah, so the damage definitely took a long time.
Yeah, 5-minute pit stop for that car.
Alrighty. Guess I was a little surprised that the damage took as long to prepare as it did, but really, in retrospect, it doesn't surprise me at all. It was a fair whack, right in the side.
McLeod has closed the gap, was out to 13 seconds, it's now into 10 between he and Warren Pickering, so that battle is, while not visually closing up, watching the clock, you can definitely see the times dropping.
Yeah, Pickering 25.8 on the last lap, 23.6 from McLeod.
2.5 seconds, so
wow.
Saying that Pickering did get held up a little bit in traffic, but he also may have made a mistake as well, because that's a fairly big jump in times.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, either way, that's allowed Mitch McLeod to gain just a little bit more time.
It won't be long before that gap's under 10 seconds, under the magical 10-second barrier. Lewis Gallon's just driving away at the moment. He's now out to 23-second lead. You know you've had a pretty good race when you're out in front and get no TV time.
Yeah. Sure, Josh Muggleton knows how that feels.
Yeah, and Jared Filsell on Sunday night as well.
Yep.
Well done to Jared last night. Made his commentary debut last night. He thoroughly enjoyed it. He wants to come and do it again. So, well done to Jared.
I'm surprised he'd be able to commentate, considering how much of a hate for long answers he seems to have for our interviews.
He actually was asking me the questions. That made it a little bit easier.
Right.
Now it's under 10 seconds between Pickering and McLeod now. So Pickering now held up again. This looks like it's Larnack just ahead of him.
Yeah, and he's got Trent Thomas just ahead of him as well. I was just thinking, how much would it take to convince Jared to retire and become our full-time interviewer?
A fair bit, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Radio Le Mans got Jay, the Sky News, the Sky crew for Formula One's got Ted Kravitz. We could have Jared Philsell.
Oh, Redback going around the outside, 2 wheels in the dirt.
Yep. Oh, that's
he's
a bit
pushing on because
courageous.
he's looking at the clock. It's now down to 8.8 seconds.
Scott Larnack goes by Trent Thomas after flashing his lights and warning.
Hello to Jared, who is watching the broadcast and is rather excited that I've talked him up.
Tell him to send a resume to Reese Gardner at v8sonline.com. That's not an actual email address. Don't send anything to that.
Yeah, it won't work. Saying that, we better set it up now.
That'd be a good idea, actually.
We're nearly an hour into this race. I think it's time we do an onboard lap. Who are we going to pick? Let us know in the chat who you would like us to do an onboard lap with.
Yeah, that's
give you a little bit of time to think about.
As Pickering almost
again.
made contact with the other FSR car. Oh my goodness, he manages to get past. So yeah, that's a good concept, allowing the broadcast chat to choose an onboard car. Probably set up a straw poll before the race. That'd be a good idea for the future.
You got your pen and paper, because I don't.
Ooh. Oh, I do have an eye on the broadcast chat, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Let us know who you want to see.
Yes, indeed. It was a 24-2 from Pickering last lap. McLeod a 23-1. McLeod's got a bit of traffic. He's just made his way past Paul Mansell once again.
And the gap now 7.7 seconds. He's got
Speedy.
another car to get through.
Now Larnack's going to make his way past Alexander Bird down at the hairpin. Go Mitch McLeod getting a nice launch out of that hairpin. Let's compare laps again.
McLeod hasn't had the trouble with traffic as Pickering has.
Certainly not. He's
1.1.
been able. Yeah, he's definitely been able to manage the traffic a little bit better, and of course, a big part of that would be coming up to them in the right spots, especially around this track.
All right, we'll jump on board with Warren Pickering, because it looks like that might be the way everyone wants to go. So we'll wait for him to get past the start-finish line, and we'll jump on board with him.
Yep, fantastic stuff. Warren Pickering looking like some quite exciting lapping coming from him in the last few laps.
And Blake Neck as well, with that damage that we saw, it actually hasn't hurt his car at all. Pace-wise, he's still on it. Last lap by 25.8. His fastest lap of the race is 25.5. So
very
no
nice.
issues
So
with pace.
good stuff there for ERT. But Warren Pickering's coming up to the hairpin now, and he has got, as we were speaking about him, Blakeneck in front of him. So we're going to go silent for the next 1.5 minutes and show you a lap around Sonoma with Warren Pickering in the number 18 Daytona prototype. And the lap is over just like that. Tell you what, Jay. Oh, as
Wow.
Warren Pickering goes around the outside at turn 1.
22.9 as well.
Wow.
Good lap to
Great
jump
lap
on
from
board.
Warren
His second
Pickering.
fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, certainly. But with that lap length, the drivers don't get much of a rest around here, Jay, and I think it's fair to say we don't either.
No,
That lap
definitely
just
not.
went by just like that.
Didn't even get a chance to go and boil the kettle.
Yeah.
So the gap actually has grown out to 9.4 seconds again, so it's starting to extend. I'm just noticing on the timesheet another battle that's starting to close up. 5th and 6th in GTE. Wayne Taylor has Sean Thompson chasing him down. Last lap by, he gained almost 3 seconds.
Wow, that's some incredible incredible rate of catching from Thompson. Have a look, you can see the gap visually getting smaller as they go through the hairpin. Have a look at lap times this time round. That's 27.2 from Wayne Taylor and a 26.9 from Thompson, so still catching him. So I think Taylor might have had a little bit of trouble on the lap before that.
Yeah, for that sort of pace difference, that had to be some sort of issue, but even still, even getting passed by a DP or two, you shouldn't really lose 3 seconds.
I'm actually going to check back and see what happened to him on that lap.
Yeah, my guess is traffic, but I'm not sure.
Alright, well, I'm
Just about to approach the 50-minute mark of this race. Our predictometer has changed from 110 laps, now saying 108 laps, so we'll find out in another 100 minutes or so.
Yes, indeed. Okay, looks like it was traffic. He got passed by Pickering and actually lifted on the exit of the hairpin and toured through the first part of the S's rather sedately to let Pickering get a gap. That explains Wayne Taylor's recent lack of pace. Still, Sean Thompson's still catching him. 27.5 from Taylor, 26.9 from Thompson on the last lap.
Thompson's the third quickest in the GTE class at the moment, so it's closing up fairly quick. We've got Hammond, who is in 30s. Last lap was a 28.2. Foster did a 27.1, and Taylor 27.5.
Looking forward to seeing how this turns out. I'm wondering if Taylor will attempt to fight Thompson.
The gap's now under a second, so we'll find out very, very soon. Third of the way through this race.
Yep, we certainly are, and Sean Thompson celebrates by getting a little bit of a tank slapper on the exit of the hairpin. Oh, and Taylor having some internet issues, it seems. He disappeared for a second there.
Gap between Pickering and McLeod's held at 10 seconds. So not much movement in any of the fields at the moment, except for this battle we're watching here between Taylor and Thompson.
So Thompson lost a bit of pace on that lap.
Yeah, only a tenth.
Due to a slide.
Not much. It hadn't hurt him as much as I was expecting it would have hurt him, actually.
Oh, have a look at how much he's closing up now on Taylor through this part of the circuit. The Ferrari, of course, seems to be the superior car in the slow corners, the ones that are rather bumpy. Meanwhile, through these really fast corners, the Ford has a little bit of an advantage due to its superior aerodynamics. Cough, prototype cough. fair bit of controversy in 2016 over that. As far as I'm aware, Ford still haven't started producing the actual road versions of the GT, so make of that what you will. Still a nice car. I like it.
Just been told there'll be a driver swap in car 18 in about 9 laps, so whether that's right or wrong, we'll find out. No doubt it'll be a lie.
Yeah.
Thanks, Seb.
Or is the implication that it is a lie the lie?
Oh, see now, who knows? It's going the old double negative.
Thompson back in the 26.9s on that lap. Caught back up to Taylor, quick, sharp. Have a look, he's right on the bumper now.
Look at how quick he closed up under brakes there.
Yeah, Thompson obviously very confident in the braking capabilities of his Ferrari.
He's actually got pretty good drive as well.
Yeah. I'm noticing he's able to stay with Taylor on corner exit, but he's really making up most of his time on the brakes and up to the apex. Oh dear, that isn't going to be confidence inspiring. Taylor disappearing once again. A little bit of a compromised line through the hairpin for Thompson, but once again it hasn't really hurt his pace. How much of the curbs he can use. I know from experience driving the Ford GT, it does not like those curbs in that part of the lap.
Yeah, the Ferrari just bounced over him too.
Yeah. In the Ford, your best bet is to steer clear of most of the curves on this track. Meanwhile, the Ferrari can basically rally cross it and you don't have to worry too much.
Just behind, you can see Warren Pickering starting to close up on these two as well, so that could interfere in this battle.
We'll see where he catches up to them. I think he'll, judging from where he is at the moment, I think he'll get past them, yeah, on the entry to the hairpin at the latest.
Hopefully it doesn't hurt these guys in their battle too much. Just seeing Clint Smith in the pits for his second pit stop, a little bit out of sequence, so he may actually have to make an extra stop from the rest of the DP field, depending on how he goes with fuel.
Indeed. Well, I'd assume it's quite easy to fuel save here at Sonoma.
Oh, big lunge.
Taylor goes wide, Thompson through, Pickering goes through as well. That all resolved quite nicely.
It's resolved itself very, very simply. Taylor has lost out, obviously, but I think that was going to happen anyway.
Yeah. The way that is, that's allowed Sean Thompson to continue on and see if he can make any inroads into the rest of the GTE field. As that's Clint Smith there going by Wayne Taylor.
Oh!
Oh.
Smith used way too much curb there, and Taylor actually had to check up.
Courageous passing spot, to say the least.
Was Clint Smith trying to make up time after that issue that he had earlier, making contact with the Fusion Sim Racing car. He's out of sequence with the rest of the field in regards to his class. Did get the gap between he and the talking car down to around about 25 seconds or so.
Brett makes his way past Thompson on the outside of the...
That was an interesting move, wasn't it?
The S's. Yeah, it was.
Oh,
straight off.
Don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall. Saved it.
Oh, yeah, that was a bizarre incident. It looked like just halfway to the apex, the car just stopped turning.
It was a bit strange. Possibly dirty tyres after the pass around the outside running off the racing line. And what it's done as well is pass for position again. Wayne Taylor's now back past Sean Thompson.
Oh, wow. Oh, and they're getting very close through the S's. This is a really good battle here at the moment. So Sean Thompson's going to have to do what he did a couple of laps ago all over again. But will he be able to go by under brakes at the last hairpin here? I wonder. Looks like he's close enough to try and attempt it. And he will. Right by on the inside. Just brushing those tyre barriers on the inside. And he is back past Wayne Taylor.
Right behind though. Two DPs coming through. So you got Smith and the talking car. So Smith now has been lapped by the entire DP field that's left in this race.
Oh, Thompson going a bit wide on the exit of 2. Now McLeod's going to be held up ever so slightly. Stay behind nicely. A really huge coating of dust in this part of the circuit, which will definitely be hurting the grip that these guys have. Gravel particles flying everywhere.
And
Which, getting that car
like
rotated nicely.
Yeah, big moves like that McLeod made. You actually cringe a little bit because you worry that as he puts his foot on the brakes with that dirty bit of track, is it actually going to pull up? But he's done a good job there.
And
Actually,
also the fact that it went over the crest too. Sorry.
Yeah, it's already unsettled going over that part of the track. So good pass there from Mitch, and he's actually closing again. It's back under 10 seconds once more.
Indeed.
I'm going to guess there won't be a driver swap for the Talking cars this time around. When they pit in, I reckon it'll be another 2 laps or so.
Looking like all the battles on track at the moment are relatively spaced out. Currently only 3 cars on the overall lead lap. Obviously the lead HRS TTR car, which is now close to 30 seconds ahead of Redback, who is 9 seconds ahead of the Torque Inc. car. The top 3 in Daytona Prototype are your only 3 cars on the lead lap at this present time.
I reckon we're maybe 2 laps off a pit stop for DP class. It won't be far away, I don't think. Go to the front of GTE because we haven't talked about them for an absolute long time. Evolution Racing Team with Blake Neck behind the wheel. I'm surprised that car is still going as quick as it is. Still doing 25s.
Yeah. Doing quite well, for sure. I'm actually quite impressed with the recovery that Blake Nick's been able to make from that incident. I suppose it has helped a little bit by his car being mid-engined and having most of its downforce produced at the rear, but all the same, with that amount of heavy damage on a car from a hit like that, at about, I don't know, 30, 40 kilometers an hour straight into the end of a concrete barrier, for him to still be able to be doing times like that and leading his class is very impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I can't believe the pace that car's got. So, probably the big advantage was that it was in the pits and with the pit limiter on, as opposed to actually driving at speed. So, we've only been going. Pretty sure the speed limit's 60 k's per hour here. So, would have been doing about 59 or 58 k's an hour when it slammed into the wall. Still not something you want to happen, though.
Yeah, certainly not.
So Neck has around about a 30-second gap back to Mansell in second, who's just being passed, or about to be passed, by Warren Pickering.
Yeah, Pickering going through on the inside. Looks like Mansell just lifted off a little early to let Pickering through. Makes sense. It looks like Mansell doesn't have much pressure from behind, and Of course, he's got Blake Neck about half a lap ahead, so...
Or issue for Dylan Shepherd.
Ooh.
He's slowed up. Oh, it's Pickering.
Oh.
Almost makes contact in the back of him.
Yeah, nah.
Try and work out what's going on there, but he's possibly blown up.
Engine's gone, yeah. Let's,
It's actually having a fair way back in the lap.
Oh no, I'm hearing him feathering the throttle. Is it possible that he might
Run out
have
of fuel.
Run out of fuel, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look
Yep,
like his...
it's out of
that's a real shame for Shepherd and for One Performance Racing.
I love how he's used the little the shortcut using the IndyCar layout, or the IRL layout, I should say. Or the off-track that a lot of drivers will do during qualifying to get out of the way of traffic. That's going to put him back behind Trent Thomas. And I think he's only just made his pit bay just now.
Yeah.
But he did make it back, luckily.
Yeah, he did. That's quite odd, because he's already done a stint in this race, so it's a bit strange for him to be caught out like that.
Unless he wasn't paying any attention to it, or maybe he was
It's
trying
possible.
something different. He's only 1 lap short by the looks, because Jeff Rahali is in the lane right now, so we're starting to see the drivers in GT3 start to cycle through. Gap between the Redback Racing Team Black and the Talking Car now down to 6.9 seconds, so at the end of this stint is closing up quite dramatically. McLeod's just done a 22.9 on the last lap.
He's also in the pits.
Yep, so I'm about to say this lap, we'll see what he's done, but no, he won't, because he's in the lane. So, and we're predicting a shorter stop here for this car, because there'll be no driver swap this time around. I've had that confirmed to me from Hayden Dodman. So the first pit stop, they had a 30-second stop. This stop should be around about 17, 18 seconds. Yeah, 18 seconds, exactly. And away they go.
Yep, Mitch out of the pits, and away he goes. So now eyes will be on the Redback car to see what they do in their stop.
It's going to turn out to be a really good battle against the clock with these guys here. So see Pickering in the lane now. Lewis Gallon continuing on.
Indeed, so Pickering now capped at 70 kilometres an hour. So
72, yeah. Saying that he's just, yeah.
staying
Yeah,
well
70.
away from next wall.
So we've got Madison's wall, now we've got next wall. Sorry to Blake, but unfortunately, when things like that happen, you never let it down.
This is the way things go. So Sebastian Murray-Westberg is jumping in the Redback Racing Team Black car. Will assume control of that machine, and Mitch McLeod is now making his way down towards the hairpin. So, see what kind of gap is going to be between these cars now.
I think McLeod's going to get him.
Yeah, looks like it.
And there he goes.
Yeah, McLeod goes by, and now Seb's away. So, away they go. So that's talking, assuming second place in the race.
Gap between those two cars is around about 7 seconds, thereabouts. As Lewis Gallon is in the pits.
I think he'll be safe. Probably won't lose the lead at all. This rate.
Scott Larnack still continuing on after that damage. He is not all that far behind, getting back ahead of Michael Taliancic, who is still lapping around a little bit off the pace. He's running in in the 128s, whereas we've seen the ERT cars both doing the 25s and 26s. So he's still a lap behind, but I'm going to guess that will close up by the end of the race. He'll at least gain 1, maybe 2 spots.
Yeah, certainly.
Oh, what's happened to Gallon? He's still in the pits.
Huh? Uh-oh.
He's still stopped.
Okay.
There he goes.
This is a problem.
Away he
Right,
goes.
so...
And McLeod is about to pass him. McLeod's now taking the lead of this race.
Okay, so... Wondering what happened there. Maybe Gallon elected to fix a bit of inherent damage in his car, maybe?
Or a penalty of some sort. Speeding in pit lane penalty is only 19 or 17 seconds. So that's still too long a stop. 51 second stop.
That's very strange.
Versus 18 seconds for McLeod. So let's say 20 seconds for fuel. Oh, who's that off the track? That's Sean Thompson. He's done it again. We saw him do this at the start of the race. He's run off the track. This time he's going to bring it back out without getting as much damage. But Thompson, we saw him doing so much hard work to get ahead of Wayne Taylor earlier. He has now lost all that hard work, or lost that ground that he had made up.
That's a real shame.
Let's get a replay of that. I'm just noticing there's a driver swap occurring in the Evolution Racing Team car that was leading the class. We now see Ryan O'Sullivan in the car.
Yes, indeed. It was in the same place as his earlier incident as well.
Exactly the same thing. He's done the exact same thing again. Through the right-hander.
Goodness me, was so close to getting cleaned up by Taliancic. Taliancic had to take major avoiding action. Goodness me, did you see that, Jay?
I actually missed that bit, unfortunately.
Oh, I would advise you to go back and check it, because Taliancic went airborne avoiding Thompson, going over the hump,
that will
and narrowly avoid going to the wall himself.
Why Taliancic is in the pits, possibly going to get some damage repaired.
Oh my goodness,
and possibly a change of underwear. We're on board with Taliancic here now.
That is worth going back and checking for sure. Spectacular.
Oh, big motocross style jump.
Yeah.
And backwards. Just avoids the fence. Wowee.
Truly spectacular.
I don't think he was expecting to see a car A facing the wrong way and B starting to move while it was facing the wrong way. Hey, go to the back to the front of the DP class. 2 seconds and dropping dramatically.
Yeah, Lewis Gallon really on a charge at the moment. Oh, but he's overshot the right-hander a little bit. That would have cost him slightly, but hey, this is
it's getting juicy.
Really spice things up, yeah. Juicy medium rare or juicy blue? There, that's my food reference for the night.
Yeah, well done. Much better than a fast food burger shop.
Big Mac.
Yeah.
My quota's been met. I can go now.
Yep, well done.
Hey guys, bye.
See you, mate. Don't actually leave on me. Anywho, while Reese has gone away to go and throw himself up some meat, Paul Mansell's in the pits after a driver swap for the Evolution Racing Team 116. And it looks like a tyre change as well, because a 48-second stop, possibly getting some damage fixed as well, knowing how much of a gap they had over Mansell. Using that extra little bit of time.
Yeah, that would definitely make sense, Jay. I am still here, by the way.
I knew you were. I wasn't never concerned that you're actually leaving. Although you were quiet for a little bit too long. Driver change. That was
the goal.
Driver change for the 115 with Guy Leach jumping in, replacing Paul Mansell.
Yes.
And through goes Ryan O'Sullivan, so they'll maintain that lead they had even with that longer stop. And it looks like a long stop as well for Guy Leach. So I'm guessing they're taking tyres while they're doing the driver swap as well, just to make sure that the newer drivers get a chance to feel the car at the potential best it could be. Go back to the front of the DP class though. It's just behind Ryan O'Sullivan, so they're actually going to come together on track as they're about to pass the leader in GTE.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Ryan O'Sullivan going very wide in the second part of that left-hander, so that's really compromised his exit. Flashing his brake lights to let Mitch McLeod know he's going to let him by. Mitch McLeod goes right at the inside at the hairpin.
I love the sportsmanship like that.
Yeah, that's very good. Lewis Gallon is going to come up to O'Sullivan right in the middle of the S's. Cloud, I think, got a bit lucky on this lap because Gallon's going to have to compromise his speed through this turn. Ooh, and O'Sullivan matching him in the braking zone. Oh, and a bit of a slide from Gallon as well.
I didn't think he was actually going to get through. I thought there's actually going to be contact there between O'Sullivan and Gallon, but fortunately there was not. Gap first back to second, 1.6 seconds as we reach the halfway point in this race. Race for around about an hour and 12 minutes. Got 1 hour, 18 minutes and 35 seconds left in this race. Approximately 50 something odd laps to go. 53 laps or so to go. Our predictometer's definitely off again tonight, but not too far off. Have a look at that GTE, second and third.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I was saying we might have to recalibrate the old predictometer as we have.
I like the name that we've made it though.
Yeah, I quite like it too. Should use it more in future events. Maybe add some extra abilities to it, predicting the outcome of battles and pit stop times and stuff like that.
No, I didn't actually make the predictometer, so I'm not going to do anything that I'll actually have to do work for, will I?
Well, I don't know, mate.
Might involve effort.
Did we blow the budget on the new overlays?
Well, the budget was above what I planned, so yes.
Okay.
We actually too many man hours for the overlays, so we won't go any further on that.
Okay.
For those who are wondering on the overlay package we use, we've spent about, to make it as it is, overall about 80 man hours of work to get the overlay package at a decent working level. For those that are wondering.
Yeah, and a very nice set of overlays they are indeed.
Thank you to Custom Image.
Yes, definitely. Fantastic work on these new overlays that we're using. We can definitely call them our own, and they really fit the broadcast aesthetic we were going for, so absolutely fantastic stuff. But yeah, overlays can be quite finicky, quite tedious to edit, to get them to show what we want them to, so a lot of time has been spent by Jay getting all of this information together so you can have a good idea of what's going on track. So thanks, Jay.
Yeah, no worries. I've just remembered that I've got a lot of overlay work to do tomorrow before we get ready for
yes.
the Formula Renault series. I've got no prep done on that yet. Whoops.
Indeed.
Anyway, we are in the middle of 6 broadcasts in 6 days, which is good.
Are we still live?
We are still live. We haven't lost every viewer yet. We're still going.
Hello to everyone watching at the moment. We've got 17 of you on now watching this broadcast.
Gallon. Here comes Lewis Gallon.
Oh, yep. We definitely hope that those of you that are here are enjoying the show, and those of you watching the broadcast replay after the fact are enjoying the show as well.
There's actually a battle going on in every class right now. We've got McLeod and Gallon on screen, and Gallon about to potentially take the race lead back from Mitchell McLeod. We've got in GT3 Grant Hines and Alex Bird battling for 4th and 5th position, and Guy Leach and Foster, who we saw before, they're battling for 2nd and 3rd in GTE, but we'll stay with the battle for the front. The outright lead is only 3/10 separating the talking car driven by Mitchell McLeod, the number 40, and the 21 HRS TTR car driven by Lewis Gallon, who is all over the place.
I've noticed over the last few laps he is pushing really hard, Gallon, almost too hard to try and get past Mitch McLeod. Been running wide on the exits of a few corners, having to work the wheel quite hard. driving at 110% at the moment.
Interesting watching him from the IMSA race last Thursday. When he was under pressure from another car was when he started to make mistakes, and we're seeing that again now. He's got pressure from a car, albeit ahead of him now, and he's making a few mistakes while trying to get that move done.
Yeah, and overshot that turn a little. They're coming up to more GT traffic. This is Thompson in front of them.
Gallon, if you thought about making a move.
Thompson's going to go wide to let these guys by. He's recognised that they're in the middle of quite the titanic battle at the moment, and you know, oh goodness me,
just bouncing it over the curbs.
Yeah, both of these guys are pushing really hard at the moment. This is actually fantastic.
Oh, big
Gallon! That aero push would have definitely played a part in that. Lewis, you need to...
Oh, car in the fence just ahead of them too.
Hello. Is that the... That's Larnack.
Larnack.
In the 125. Oh my goodness. So, ERT cars both having appointments with walls today. Oh, have a look at the incident that led to that, Jay. That was, you know how we were talking about the battle between Hines and Bird? Well, yeah, Hines had a tank slapper and...
Wow. How lucky was that for Larnack to not take any other cars out as he's gone into the fence there.
Man, Alex Bird, very lucky.
Wow.
Oh, that was quite the incident. So
Bird was lucky, and the car just ahead of Bird as well, who I'm not 100% sure who that was. Maybe Dylan Shepherd. He was lucky to not get cleaned up as well. He just threaded the needle between those two, and that was very fortunate that the result went that way.
Oh, Gallon spun up the front. So from second place, he's lost it. He's made quite a major error in the middle of the hairpin trying to get past McLeod, and that's allowed Thompson back by. So, oh man.
Yeah, he's lost 6 seconds out of that replay on screen. Just saw the end of it as we're going live. McLeod actually had given him room so that he could go through, and he's probably forced it a bit too much and looped it around. So as we said, he's starting to make a few mistakes now that there's some pressure starting to be applied.
Yeah, certainly. Man, yeah, Gallon, ever since he pulled into the pits last time, he's just not had the best night.
No, he's definitely not driving like he was at the start of the night. McLeod's just been nice and consistent, and now out to a 6.5 second gap once again. This is the biggest gap that we've seen in the race for the lead. It's around about 4 seconds after the stop, and then it closed very, very quickly, but Gallon was not able to get through. Oh, he's made another mistake. He's taken too much curb. He's pushing way too hard at the moment, Gallon.
He needs to calm down a little bit and just let the car come back to him, and he'll be able to get that gap back out to McLeod. He's got the pace.
He definitely has the pace. He's been the fastest car on track by an absolute country mile. Qualified fastest by 1.5 seconds. So there's no issues in regards to pace. It's now about racecraft and the amount of pressure that's been applied. In saying that, McLeod is now second. What's happened to McLeod? Gallon's back in front.
Oh, okay. Well,
I was just watching Gallon, and now all of a sudden McLeod's ended up.
McLeod's had a big appointment with the gravel trap and the wall as well at the at the downhill left-hander. Nearly got it into the wall, kind of outside the boundaries of the wall as well. So both of the DP lead battle participants making big mistakes.
Yeah, that's.
And Gallon's slowing down. What's going on here?
Gallon's let McLeod through?
Is Gallon just bored and wanting a battle?
I don't know what's happening here. This is strange.
He
was out to another 4 second gap, and now it's back. He's letting him through again.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Maybe Gallon was intentionally slowing up so he could have a battle.
Possibly.
That might have been the reason for the long pit stop as well.
Seems a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
This is a championship after all. It's not necessarily all for funsies. You still want to win the championship. You want to win legit if you're going to try and win races.
Certainly do, but look at Gallon here. Yeah, getting really close to McLeod's diffuser through the downhill left. Who's it as they come up to? That's Hines, with some fair front-end damage from when Larnack clipped him after he spun.
We were going to have a break during this stint of running, but we haven't been able to. There's been too much action in this stint.
Yeah, have a look here. The move is on.
It was almost
McLeod
contact.
versus Gallon.
McLeod's going to come back here.
Oh, not quite.
He might be able to tuck back in here. No, he won't be able to.
So as they come into turn one, once again, McLeod just staying a little more right so he can get a better sight line into the corner, but Gallon pulling away already. McLeod in the dirt a little bit.
Down the hill they come.
But that's absolutely mind-boggling from Gallon. I have absolutely no idea what he is doing out there at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a bit puzzled on what's going on. We've got 68 minutes left in the race. I'm guessing that there will be a driver swap in the talking car at some point, whether it's this stint or the next stint. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Puzzled.
Yes, Aaron Wilton asks in the broadcast chat, are we going to have post-race interviews tonight? Not quite sure about that.
We planned to in the first race, but nobody turned up. So, if someone turns up, we'll have a chat to them.
Yeah, we certainly will.
So that will depend on the drivers.
Yeah, of course. We can't do post-race interviews if there are no drivers willing to come in for post-race interviews. So, yeah, if any of the drivers would like to have a chat and their teammates are listening to this broadcast, please encourage them to come over to our TeamSpeak. There is a link to it in the YouTube description. Oh, actually, no, there isn't.
No, there's not.
We will.
I'll edit that now.
We'll endeavour to provide you a link to our TeamSpeak so you can jump on and have a bit of a chat after the race. Meanwhile, this battle has closed back up again.
We've got a driver that's going to pop over for a chat in just a moment too.
Very nice.
Here right now, actually.
Oh, have a look here. McLeod's about to go for the move on Gallon. Gallon going wide. Really wide.
Very wide.
Ridiculously wide.
Right on cue. We've got McLeod's teammate Hayden Dodman in the booth. G'day, Mr. Dodman. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks.
What's happening out on track, mate? We're confused as to what's going on here.
We are too. I think he just wants to have a bit of a battle. Like, we definitely do not have the pace of him, and I think he's enjoying having a bit of wheel-to-wheel racing.
Yeah, that's
about all we can try and put it down to as well.
Yeah, like from the long stop to slowing right down before the start-finish line to going incredibly wide in the hairpin, it's some of the most bizarre behaviour I've ever seen. So, yeah, maybe he just likes passing people. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
He's got plenty of traffic around the track to do
almost looped it.
Oh, man.
He's got pace to burn. There's not a question about that. He's got us covered, hands over knees. But yeah, he's obviously happy following a car at a simpler speed and have a bit of fun.
Are you getting back in the car at all, Hayden?
Well, whatever. Us, no plan. I probably got out of the car too early because we forgot about driver changes have extra time.
Yeah.
That stuffed us up a bit, and I thought, oh, well, Mitch can do the rest, and yeah.
Saying that probably hasn't hurt you too much because then you gain the time back on the redback car when they did the driver swap at the second stop. So probably didn't hurt you as much as you thought.
Yeah, it'll help us there, but if I jump back in, that's another 8 seconds we've lost. Obviously, the race has changed a little bit now, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
I believe they're doing another driver swap as well, so you'll get that
a little
time
bit
back.
Inside goss.
Oops, did I say that out loud? Sorry to Redback, who fed us that info that I'm pretty sure I already said over the chat anyway. So if you were watching the broadcast, you would have heard it anyway.
Yep. All right.
Battle second and third in GTE. We've seen Guy Leach now behind Foster, and they're battling very hard again.
Yeah, have a look at this. Guy Leach really closing up under brakes on Foster.
And they're not far off pit stop again, I think.
Yes, indeed. You know, Foster has really taken advantage of other people's errors here. The Natari Autosports car started 10th overall, is now up to 6th overall. So, quite a big gain.
Leach is, well, they had a fairly big gap actually after the last round of stops, so I'm surprised that they're behind. So
Yeah,
we've obviously missed that pass, because Foster was behind not that long ago, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was, yes.
Okay, I'm not going completely cray-cray, just a little bit crazy.
I'll take the liberty of just rewinding a few laps to see how the pass happened. But looking at this battle, it's you can really see the differences between the Ferrari and the Ford. Notice where each car has a little bit of an advantage over the other. Guys that are very close in pace. As I'm rewinding, yeah, looks like he does have quite the pace advantage over Foster.
Doesn't get it done, but thought he might have been able to there. Not far off pit stops for you guys, I'm guessing, Hayden?
I just had a look at the fuel then. We got 5 laps, so...
Okay. Interesting.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Jay. That that pass that Foster put on Leach was legit.
As into the pits comes Foster, so 62 minutes of racing left. This will be the second last stop for that car.
So there was that was actually a full all-out battle, and it looked like Leach just fell back over the next few laps and then came back up on him. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. Probably just some problems of another type for Leach.
Mitch has just told me we got 4 laps left and he's run out of beer, so I might have to take control.
Ah, that is a problem.
That's always the issue at the Talk team.
It shouldn't be, because after this amount of time, you should know to keep stock.
He should know how much his beer per lap burn is by now, shouldn't he?
Should.
Still hasn't worked it out though.
Hire a data analyst to record his beer usage as Mitch really goes for it into the hairpin, almost backing the car in.
Well, good luck if you do jump back in, Hayden. We'll be interested to see how you go, but you should end up looking like you'll be jumping the Redback car that you were behind earlier. Possibly.
Possibly. I haven't done a lap for a little while, so anything can happen.
Yeah, just don't get the walls.
Either way, this battle is still very much on. How much of it is legitimate on Lewis Gallon's part, we're still not sure. As McLeod, there's a little bit of an off-track excursion.
Gallon's there now.
Yeah, but then McLeod seems to gain on him again, so once again he's getting right up to him and then backing off slightly.
It's a bit strange watching how the battle's actually playing out. I'm really surprised by how it's all actually happening now. Pit stops have started for... Well, we saw the Natari Autosports car in. There's actually been a driver swap in that car. Edward Foster now behind the wheel. Ryan O'Sullivan in the 116. Even with that big incident into the pit wall. I can't believe that they are now 48 seconds ahead of the next car.
Wow, that's
How have they done that?
Yeah, stonking pace from ERT. Fantastic stuff. Well, news from the broadcast chat from Clint Smith. He's decided to retire from the race, recovering from gastro, and
Yum.
not have the mental stamina to keep going. So, unfortunate for Clint, but at least he went out there and had a run.
We're into the final hour.
Yeah, this race has gone by a little quicker than I thought it would be.
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of battles going on the whole race, which has been good. The race at Suzuka lulled through the midpoint, but this one's been the complete opposite. Probably had a little bit of a slow first half hour, and then it's just taken off from there.
Yeah,
We wasted all our good material in the first 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden we didn't need to worry.
Yeah, well, that's very fortunate for us, Jay.
Always
But perhaps we should, yes, perhaps we should do a little more planning ahead for our for our banter during these races,
so that we don't run out after 10 minutes.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Fortunately, the drivers were nice enough to step up and provide us with some material.
Actually,
But
it's helped quite a lot.
that may not always happen.
No, and it usually doesn't. I mean, if we were prepared, we probably would have no time to use any of the material, but...
Oh, McLeod with the mid-corner rotation once again. Gallon's getting right up to the back of him down the back half of the circuit. Oh, McLeod!
Oh, did he hit the wall then?
From his car. I don't know how much of that was netcode, but if it wasn't, it was damn close.
Yeah, there was a contact on my screen.
Right then. Confirmation from our newly hired Talking insider. No, it's usually Jay, but he doesn't have a direct line to the drivers most of the time.
I usually know what's going on though, which is usually no planning, no thought, no idea.
Yeah, well,
Hayden will back me
at
up
least
on
your
that.
job's easy.
Oh, up
We'll
the
have a look
inside.
at- That's
Move done.
going to be, yeah, move done for Gallon. They've got Michael Hammond there as they come into the hairpin. Hammond's going to see them coming, but still turn in a fair bit. Going to leave space for McLeod on the inside, though.
In the pits comes Sean Thompson for his scheduled stop. Michael Hammond actually has just finished his stop as well, so he's just come out there after the pit stop. And in comes McLeod. Are you heading off, Hayden?
I don't know. Yeah.
I love the planning.
It is getting a little cramped in the commentary box. Well, we've only got
luck,
like
mate. We'll let
we've
you
only
go.
got like 5 square feet per person in this commentary box.
Good luck.
Okay, thanks, thanks, guys.
See you, mate.
See you later, Hayden Goldman from Talk Inc.
I love the planning that my team has. Like, this is how we plan a 24-hour race, let alone a 2.5-hour race. Do you want to do... Oh, yeah, alright, I'll do a lap. Oh, no, yeah, alright, yeah, nah. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's just no planning at all. Hayden has stepped into the car.
I don't think I'd be able to handle that.
Talk about archaic action. There's oh,
can
Daryl
you
Carter's in the
believe-
fence.
Oh dear. As where is Daryl
The
Carter?
274 Performance Motorsport
Oh,
chassis
yes.
number 4 to help you out there, Race.
He's still going though. Wow, that was quite the spin from Carter.
Oh,
Almost it was an artful spin actually. Just
I should
managed to
say-
avoid going straight into the wall.
yeah, he didn't hit the wall. I saw all the damage on the car. And I was like, oh, he's hit the front of the car into the wall, but he didn't touch the wall at all. So
He got a good look at the wall.
he did from every
Fair to
angle.
say.
Very good pirouette. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there saying 9 out of 10 for the style points.
Da na 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 na.
The ballet shoes on.
Very nice.
Alright, so front of DP now. Gallon has a 31-second lead over Sebastian Murray-Westberg, who is in second position now for the Redback Racing Team Black. And then Hayden Dodman in the talking car is another 21 seconds behind Sebastian. So he should pass Seb in the pit stop. He probably won't pass Gallon in the pit stop because obviously Gallon will not need a driver swap.
That is for certain. I was gonna say, Jay, before Daryl Carter's free So You Think You Can Dance. Can you believe a couple of years at the end of 2014, I almost went to Talk Inc. with you?
Yes.
That was an option.
That was. I said, hey, come and race over here. It'll be heaps of fun.
But then, myself and Matthew Barron decided to go to Daco Motorsport, and from then on, Fusion Sim Racing became a thing when we joined up with the guys formerly from JFF. So it's amazing how movements happen in the sim racing community.
All of a sudden, you become a team manager, and I went from being a team manager to just being someone who just turns up and races when I can be bothered.
Yeah.
Which
and then I went from being a scared pit reporter to being
an actual
a semi-experienced sim racing commentator, and you've gone from being a full-time commentator to being a part-time commentator, part-time director.
Full-time everything, I think I am at the moment. Jeffrey Harley in the lane. Yeah. So nearly cleansed in the GT3 field. Trent Thomas leading the field at the moment, but yet to make his third pit stop.
Jeffrey Harley going very slowly, and he's escaped back to his pit box.
Yeah, so run out of fuel possibly.
Oh dear, that's
not
good at all. Yeah, and incidentally, both
he's out of fuel.
Yeah, incidentally, Jeff and Dylan are both of One Performance Racing. So I don't know if they have they been doing some mutual strategy work and made a mistake somewhere, perhaps?
I've heard that there is some third-party apps out there that some people are relying on a bit too heavily, and they're selling themselves half a lap short in fuel. So not doing enough testing, relying on the software rather than relying on their own instincts, possibly has hurt them in this race. So
I do know that ourselves, as Lewis Gallon, we've noticed has just he overshot his pit box. Ooh. Actually. So that's not what he wants.
No.
But on the subject of third-party apps, I do know that ourselves at Fusion Sim Racing have experienced a couple of teething problems with our team member Brock Kremer's Arduino Pitboard app. Of course, as his teammates, we get to be his beta testers, basically, for new versions of the app. So sometimes bugs come up, but it works well for the most part.
It does. It's been a very, very popular app too. One of the most popular apps out there. That, along with Joel Real Timing and Z1 Dash, I'm pretty sure would be the three most popular.
Yeah, for sure.
Sadly, the one that we used to support quite well, Sim Instruments, no longer going, sadly.
Real shame about that. Lewis Gallon has slowed down on track once again.
He's waiting for Hayden to see if he can have a bit of a battle, but
yep.
Needs to be careful because Hayden hasn't done anywhere near as many laps as Mitch. So it'll be interesting to see. And 19-second gap between Hayden back to Seb in the Redback Racing Team cars even after the driver swap. So no real battle there for second and third at this stage. But at least we've got something to watch while Gallon slows up for Hayden Dodman to have a bit of fun.
Yep, driving with his mirrors at the moment is Lewis, probably.
Oh, what's happened to Rhino Sullivan just ahead?
Oh, hello.
He's made a mistake. No. And into the fence. Trying to replay as to what happened. I don't think anyone else is involved. Potentially there was, but we'll find out. It's a replay on screen now. Did have a 58-second lead before that incident to the car behind.
He just missed his brake marker.
Strange.
Either that or it was a... he did brake fairly late for a GTE, but I do notice that the car did break free under brakes and, yeah, just hit one of those tyre barriers on the inside.
And that is really easy to do. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen that pretty much for the whole night. So, scrape the wall as he's going to straighten it back up. Yet to make his third pit stop. Actually, the front three in GTE have not made their third stop as of yet. So O'Sullivan, Leach and Hyde. So they'll be making one more stop of full tank of fuel, and then I'm guessing a splash and dash. So yeah, maybe take tyres in one of these stops and not in the other.
Yep. Will be the way of things. The Evolution Racing team tonight, they seem to have... seems that the planets have aligned for these guys to make what should be an assured victory just that little bit more difficult for themselves as Ryan O'Sullivan pulls into the pits. Because, it's... I think it's, in my experience at least, it's rare to see this many in-the-wall incidents from ERT drivers, but nonetheless, still doing well to be leading regardless.
Yeah, it's been very uncharacteristic from the team, so good to see that they're all still human over there.
Yeah.
Not all complete robot aliens out there, but Guy Leach, the last in GTE to make his stop, so he's coming through the chute now.
Behind Alexander Bird, and Leach goes for the pits.
So we've got to watch Guy Leach and Edward Foster. Those two were battling for position before the last round of pit stops. There was a driver spot for Foster, but I think he might be too far back from Leach. But we'll see. O'Sullivan's back out on track.
Yep, so that incident once again has not hurt ERT in the slightest.
Hayden Dobbins managed to get ahead of Lewis Gallon, but we probably know that that's maybe not a legit pass. We're not sure. We're assuming that this is what's happening, that Gallon's been slowing down a little to try and have some fun. Sometimes leading isn't enough.
Yep, very true.
There's been quite a few people out there that do say that they prefer to come last in a fantastic fun battle than to win by multiple laps, so I would probably agree.
I would agree in the cooler months.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter if you're drenched in sweat afterwards.
Well, yeah, I mean, I prefer to not have to immediately get into the shower after a race.
Guy Leach.
Especially when I've already had a shower that day, but I'm digressing at the moment.
Guy Leach is about a 30-second gap over Edward Foster, so that battle looks like it is all said and done for second and third in GTE, sadly. Teammate battle's actually starting to heat up in your team, Reese, between the two Fusion boys.
Certainly is.
About 2 seconds separating those two. Well, there's actually a tight battle going on in DP, but it's a bit manufactured for my liking.
Hmm.
When there's not much else happening, we can go back to that for something to watch, but...
Yeah.
Oh, hearing a car off the track. Not quite sure who that was. Actually, it was Lewis Gallon.
Oh.
Lewis Gallon's made a mistake at turn 2, and he's dropped a whole heap of time back to McLeod. I mean, to Dodman.
Yeah, well, the car just getting loose as the front tyres load up across the hill, and yeah, tiny bit unsettled over the curb as well, so...
Actually did a good job to get out of that as well as he did.
Don't text and drive, kids.
Fusion Sim Racing cars now separated by 1.2 seconds. So that's closing. Right on cue Ferrari gets in between them with Michael Hammond coming back through.
Yes, indeed. Alex and Trent have stayed in those cars for the entirety of the race.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
I think Alex did that at Suzuka.
Yeah, he did the whole stint. I'm sure Trent drove. He had a teammate with him that race. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah. Scott Stevens
That's
took
right.
over a bit in 246.
Yeah. They picked up a double podium at that round as well. Oh, Hammond threw it in there.
Man.
And I think he's done what we were worried about. We were talking earlier when McLeod was going through, that hasn't predicted the lack of grip on the inside line, and it's just thrown him wide. Lucky that there wasn't a big amount of contact there.
Yeah, that was... Wow. Was there contact at all? Like, it looks like there was a
Looks
tiny...
like there should have been contact, but
tiny bit.
maybe one of those situations where the net code's helped as opposed to hindered.
Yeah, goodness me.
We'll wait for that pack to reform, but it's 1.8 seconds for the race lead at the moment. Dodman over Gallon.
I was going to say, I think Trent will be fairly rattled at that, because he uses VR. He's
That would
he runs
scare him.
Oculus. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, right on cue. Bird's having some internet issues. Here's the view out the back of the Fusion Sim Racing number 246. See over the rear wing, you can see the 247 closing up and disappearing every now and again.
Actually, have they swapped cars? I think they've swapped cars from Suzuka.
Maybe.
Because the initial team entry was 247, with Trent and Scott putting their hands up to drive that. But you know, I suppose what with the whole only cars counting for team entries and not drivers, they've decided to do a bit of jostling around.
Why not? If they end up with a double podium, it means that they'll split the points evenly, and
Yeah.
why not?
See, this is how competent I am as the team manager. I don't know about the movements of my drivers in between these cars.
That's right, you're doing better than us. At least you knew to enter cars before the registration's closed. Our team didn't then register until the day before the second round, so... Oh, big mistake from Trent Thomas, and up the inside. Goes to 247. Move done. So we tick on to 41 minutes to go. I think it's almost time to do another onboard lap, so maybe we'll go on board with Trent Thomas as he now follows his teammate around the track.
Yeah. That seems like a very good idea. This lap or next one?
We'll do next lap.
Okie dokes. The Alex Bird going a little bit wide on hairpin. Alright, you can do that. Yeah, we've seen a lap from the perspective of a Daytona prototype, fast and frenetic and downforce heavy. Come up to the back half of the circuit, you will be able to see lap from the perspective of GT3. Electronics are plenty in these cars. I know Trent really likes to use his ABS and traction control.
After we do this, we'll also do one in one of the GTE cars as well, so we'll make sure we get one with all three cars before we finish the night off. But just behind it, we've got the leaders battling for position, so we might not have too great of a hot lap, but we'll see how we go. We're right on board this lap with Trent Thomas.
Little bit of action in the middle of that one. That was Daryl Carter coming back onto the track halfway through.
It's amazing how little time there is to rest in that 90 seconds.
Yeah, certainly, and it's also amazing how a lap around here in a GT3 isn't that much shorter than a lap around here in a Daytona prototype. It's only worth about 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's amazing to think the speed difference between those two cars is so little in lap time at this track. We saw about 15 or seconds or so at the round at Suzuka. We saw about 9 to 10 at Watkins Glen, but this track here, such a short distance, only 6 seconds. Imagine what it's going to be like when we get to Lime Rock later in the season.
Oh god.
Time for, I think we might do an onboard lap with Evolution Racing Team's number 116 as they're just about to cross the start finish line now. I think that might be a good idea, Reese.
Very good idea indeed. Here's a lap with Ryan O'Sullivan in a Ferrari GTE car. What a lovely, smooth and controlled lap from Ryan O'Sullivan in a minute 26 and 6/10.
Again, not much difference. 3 seconds slower than the DP, 3 seconds quicker than the GT3.
Nice even spread.
Yeah, nice even spread, which is why we've seen it not as easy to pass as we've seen at other tracks. We're not far off the last phase of pit stops once again, so we'll see some cars start to get into the lane very, very soon. We've got Hayden Dodman still leading Lewis Gallon at this stage of the race.
Indeed, and I was going to say another thing that you viewers might have noticed on the hot lap with Ryan O'Sullivan is how much more gentle he is on the brakes compared to Trent Thomas in that GT3. That's because the GTE cars don't have anti-lock brakes. They do have traction control, and the Daytona prototypes have traction control as well, but neither of those cars have anti-lock brakes. The GT3 cars do.
Gallon's actually looking like he now wants to get past Dodman, actually legitimately. Hayden's doing a very, very good job of putting his car in the right spot.
Yeah, certainly. I think Gallon might finally be thinking, okay, I've got about half an hour to go in this race. It's time to put the hammer down. Look at how much Hayden's using those curves.
I actually thought Hayden was going to loop it there because he was so aggressive over those curbs.
Yeah. Not always the best line to take, especially in a Daytona prototype. I think if you were in a Monster Energy NASCAR Cup car, then you wouldn't have too much trouble with it. But a low downforce heavy Daytona prototype, as we see Michael Hammond disconnecting from the server there, I think that might be race over for him.
Yeah, it's race over for those guys. But there's a battle just ahead of Dodman and Gallon. The two GT Fords they're battling for position, and that's closed up fairly quick. Jason Hyde in the trailing car. He's just being passed by our race leaders.
Hyde's going to have to... He's been forced wide.
Oh,
and Gallon's gone right to the wall.
I thought Dodman was going to dive it in the pits then, and Dodman almost straight ahead into the pit wall.
Jesus.
Whoa.
Okay, well, that's move done for the lead. Closing up massively under brakes, though, and of course, Gallon has now got Edward Foster. Ooh. So that's brought Foster and Hyde really close together.
And Dodman,
have a look at this.
Almost
we got two
got
battles
the
at
inside.
once.
Who do we watch? Who do we watch?
Two classes. Oh, good question. Just go to Blimp View and watch them both.
No, they're too far spread. I think we'll stay with Hyde and Foster, though, because we know that that's a legit battle.
Using a modified Blimp View, Jay, because I can see them both.
Yeah, I'm sort of trying to move the camera around, but it's not working as well as I would have liked. Here comes Hyde up the inside. Thought about it.
Yeah, he certainly did. Looks like Gallon and Dodman are holding station, so yeah, this GTE battle looks to be the one to watch. Four GTs battling quite hard through the back half of the circuit.
Good to see we've got some out on track again.
Yeah, certainly is. Since the patch was released that restricted the minimum ride height at the front of the Ford, really worked wonders for that car's participation.
We've seen a massive increase in numbers.
Yeah. Oh, have a look at Hyde, though. Hyde! He's looped it. Round he goes.
Pushed it too hard. Saying that the pace he's had, he'll get back up there very quickly. I'm sure of that.
Well, Foster's been doing mid-29s or thereabouts for a lot of the time he's been in that car. Hyde about 2 seconds faster, so... Interesting to see how that turns out at the end of the race. I also heard some rumours on the forums of the point that the Ford's ride height is calculated from might have been adjusted as well to basically force the car to run a higher ride height. So that's definitely helped matters, and it feels good being able to attack a racetrack.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of drivers that were doing heaps of testing for the Le Mans 24 in the Ford and then jumped to the Ferrari after they realised how bad the damage was for that car about 2 or 3 hours before race start after doing a full week of testing. So great to see that they've made that change as we're now approaching the final 30 minutes of this race.
Foster is in the pits.
We were supposed to have a break at some point throughout this race, but we haven't been able to.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the way
positive.
The old cookie crumbles. Yeah, certainly means that this race has been engaging enough to keep us on our toes.
I'm actually very happy with that because we were a little bit worried before we started with the number of cars that we had that we were going to have a bit of a boring race, but it's been far from. I think that the track naturally brings on action, which is why I absolutely love this circuit.
Yeah, it's a fantastic track, as we see Sean Thompson as well in the pits.
Yeah, so they'll be making their last stop. We've seen pretty much half an hour the whole way through for most of the cars. We'll see a couple of cars maybe tweak the strategy a little. The GTE cars looking like they can go about 35 to 40 minutes to a stint, but not quite able to go any further than that. GT3 has been pretty much 31 minutes or so for their pit stops, and DP Class 3 about 35 minutes or so.
Question from the broadcast chat from Scott from Future Racing, co-team manager. Has the Ford's patch affected the car's behaviour much? From my experience, no. It drives much the same, and I've been... Yay! It has enough for Reese to stop whinging. Okay. Oh my lord.
Took me 2 hours to get that out. So.
Oh man, the banter is crossed over into text chat now. It isn't just in the commentary. We're living in 3017 now. But yeah, the Ford's behaviour I think has been much the same. You know, it doesn't drive that much differently. You can just attack the curbs a little bit more now. As you follow the same ride height ratios to keep it keep that downforce up, it's all good.
Lewis Gallon's now pulling away quite quickly from Hayden Dodman. It's now to 2.5 seconds. So Gallon's now had enough of playing games, and he's back out there. Just did a 22.4 comparison to Dodman with a 23.2. Starting to see a few more drivers in the lane.
That coming out of the pits there, that's Daryl Carter, Performance Motorsports.
Good job from him. He's just kept going, kept putting in laps. Even with all the damage he's had to that car, he's now found himself in 4th position. And you never know what can happen in these races. He could end up somehow on the podium. Only takes one car to have a little mistake, ruin their race. Can and does happen.
Yeah, it certainly does, and that that Performance Motorsports car has really been in the wars this race.
Oh yeah,
getting the nose quite literally chopped off by by Scott Larnack.
Seb has just had a bit of a whoopsie spin.
Yeah.
Try and pick up a replay of it. Seb will be more than happy that I've noticed that him doing that. Seb always took great pleasure in either of us having a whoopsie when he was directing, didn't he, race?
Yeah, he certainly did.
So
always made sure to, always made sure to show it in detail.
And multiple replays usually as well when we were involved. But we'll only do one replay of that, Seb, because that was actually not a bad recovery, so well done.
Yeah, very nice.
Lewis Gallon, 2.1 second lead over Hayden Dodman after we are now 124 minutes into this race.
Hayden Dodman's last lap was a 23.8, a 24.4 from Gallon. I think he's
Is that a little bit of traffic?
yeah, experiencing traffic. Yep, and he's about to pass Mr. Thompson once again at the hairpin.
Getting flashed as he's coming through.
Oh, got a pass going on between classes. That's Trent Thomas getting passed at the hairpin by Edward Foster. Noticed them getting rather close. It's always scary going up to that last hairpin at this track because you've got the pit wall there that starts in the braking zone for the turn, and if you're just a little bit too far over to the left, it's basically race over. So if you're trying to pass someone through there, you've got to make sure to give them a good amount of space, otherwise you'll get a very swift trip to the steward's box, possibly a very swift trip into the wall, depending on how your opponent loses control.
Talking number 40 is in the lane for the final time in this race. Filling it back up with fuel again. Doesn't appear to be a driver swap happening, so Hayden Dodman will finish the race. And away he goes, a 19.7 second stop. Same pit stop times we've seen for pretty much everyone else out there in that class.
Ross Rizzo's away in the Pro Force Racing 284 car.
Yeah, he's still got a pretty big lead as well, even after that pit stop, so he's had a very, very good drive. He drove very well in the IMSA race on Thursday night. And again, doing a great job tonight. So even after making his 4th and final stop, he's got around about a 20-odd second lead. Live timing is saying 23-second lead, so, and Thomas still has to make his 4th and final stop. We've got Guy Leach in the lane, who is making his 4th stop. And the lead that the Evolution Racing Team 116 has now is around about a minute 16. Nearly a full lap.
Well, he's just lapped Guy Leach.
Yep, just lapped him, but obviously yet to make his next stop, so after the pit stops it'll be back down around that 116 or so.
Mansell's back in the VR46 car, so that's going to be a longer stop for those guys to get the driver swap done.
Yeah, it hasn't actually added too much time to the GTE pit stop times. They're around about, I'm saying that's around about an extra 11 seconds or so, so it's not as bad as you would expect. Actually, in saying that, they've stopped a little bit longer. It's now up to 36, 37,
Ooh.
40 seconds now, so
Damage repair?
actually, yeah, possibly a bit of damage repair, so this could hurt them depending on what happens with Jason Hyde, but that will probably put them a lap down.
Yeah, that's
Saying that
that's not gonna
O'Sullivan
be very good at all.
now could actually get some damage repaired that they had, because there's still a lot of damage to that 116 ERT car. Lewis Gallon on screen at the moment now has a 41-second lead, yet to make his final stop. 20 minutes left on the clock, so he'll have a fairly quick splash and dash. He's still out there going now.
Jason Hyde remains out on the circuit. I think he still has yet to make his final stop.
Yeah, he still hasn't pitted for that 4th time. Hayden Dodman's just done the fastest lap of the entire race just then.
Wow.
121.8.
That's fangin'.
Fastest lap previous to that was Lewis Gallon. Lap 2, I'm pretty sure it was a 121.9. So on lap 91, Hayden Dodman's done the fastest lap of the race. This isn't over.
Yeah, certainly isn't.
Sebastian Murray-Westberg in the pit, so I'm pretty sure we're going to see a driver swap from that team. I'm fairly sure that was what we were told. We'll see if we were right.
We'll see. Looking at my heads-up display, waiting for the help to change. No driver change.
No.
Lies!
Splash. That's twice we've been lied to by that team. For those questioning in the chat, is that an ERT car 1 lap ahead of the entire field? At the moment it is yes. So the ERT 116 is ahead of the entire field, however they have not made their final stop. But they potentially still will be a full lap ahead of the field.
Yeah, especially with the kind of pace they've had, even with damage.
Jason Hyde in the pits, so we've only got 2 cars left, 3 cars left on track to make their final stop. We've got Lewis Gallon leading the DP class, the Evolution Racing Team Ferrari with Ryan O'Sullivan at the wheel, and Trent Thomas is yet to make his final stop for Fusion Sim Racing.
Right, now looking at VR46 versus Performance Motorsports. Ansel exits the final hairpin, and it looks like, yeah, he's going to make his way past. Ooh.
It's actually going to be a bit closer than what it was, though, because Hyde, obviously no driver swap, only a 10-second stop. Mansell with a 39-second stop last time around. So he's gained a fair bit of time.
Yeah, well, Hyde's fastest lap was a 26.1 back on lap 53. Paul Mansell's fastest lap was a 25.9, so there's not much between these guys, and of course traffic can make a difference, so who knows, we might see these guys come together a bit more before the end of the race.
Potentially, yeah. We've got Lewis Gallon in the pits, so final pit stop in the DP class is happening now. Hayden Dodman coming through the final hairpin. Pit comparison times on.
Looks like Gallon's already away.
Yeah. So it's still around about 6 seconds or so.
little splash and dash
3 seconds.
for Lewis.
Only 3 seconds between them. So last two cars now to pit. We're at the ERT number 116. They are the only car in GTE to make their stop. And Trent Thomas, the last car to make his stop in GT3.
Then the field shall be cleansed.
For the final time.
Yet to be.
How did the 247 drop so far behind? They were in P2. They've dropped so far behind because they've made their their fourth and final pit stop. Is how, as right on cue, Trent Thomas is in the lane. So we'll see where the 247 appears in comparison to the 246.
Right, well, Alex is just coming through the sweepers now. I think Trent might come out in front of him.
Yeah, I think it'll be fairly close.
Well, Trent's
Yeah, he's already
away.
Yeah, he's had a 6.5 second quicker pit stop. He's actually
There
been
we
able to
go.
measure a bit more accurate how much fuel is needed. So away they both go. And net gain for Thomas over Bird, it's been about 5-6 seconds. .3 seconds is the net gain.
Well, guess both cars will be very happy with that. Currently on course to complete the podium in GT3 as they have as they've taken to doing in this series.
So last car left to make their stop is the 116 Evolution Racing Team Ferrari. And
He's going to
go again.
not go for the pits. Yep.
It's going to be less than 15 minutes on the clock when they make that final stop. It'll be a real splash and dash, probably be about 9 or 10 seconds for the stop, considering it's been 19 to 20 for the full tank of fuel stop. So I guess it'll be 9 seconds for a half tank or thereabouts. Saying that they should, I'm thinking, come out with a full lap lead over the rest of the field in that class.
And for them to be able to do that after getting into the wall once or twice.
Have a look at the last lap time for Lewis Gallon. Not an official lap time, but a 1:21.7. Compared to the fastest official lap time, which is a 1:21.828 from Dodman, a 1:21.779 from Gallon last time by.
That's a little bit ridiculous.
That's quick. Obviously, it's not official because he's run off the track at some point on the lap. Now, Mansell has Hyde starting to close up. Hyde last lap by 1 second quicker. So
Yeah,
for third and fourth in class.
Yeah,
Second and third in class, sorry.
We were saying before that that these guys will probably come together before the end of the race. Well, looks like that's well on its way to happening.
15 minutes left. As Ryan O'Sullivan is in the lane, so we'll see whether he can maintain a full lap lead. I'm predicting it will be a yes because Mansell's still only halfway through the lap.
Yeah, he's only coming up to mid-lap hairpin before the S's.
And O'Sullivan's already pretty much in his bay.
Yeah, let's see how long the stop is.
So the last stop for Mansell was 39.3 due to having the driver swap. 10.4 for ERT. Away they go. They're going to have a full lap on the rest of the field.
That is absolutely crazy.
Well done for ERT.
Yeah, very well done from those guys. However, battle for the other two steps on the podium is not quite over in GTE.
Far from done.
Can't wait. Can't wait to see how this finishes up.
Last lap by another 0.4 of a second taken by Hyde. over Paul Mansell. It's now down to 2.36 seconds. 13 minutes to go. We've got around about 7 laps left in this race. Predictometer at the start of the race is a long way off.
Yes, indeed.
Good old predictometer, nowhere near it. I'm guessing we'll do what, I reckon 104 laps, Reese? As we start lap 97?
Yeah,
13
I'd say
minutes
so.
left.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty close.
It's only 6 laps off, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Of course, don't forget tomorrow night we start our new series, the Formula Renault New Zealand and Australia series. A little bit different running a series on New Zealand time zones than Australian time zones, but that's all a bit more exciting in some ways as well, Reese.
Yeah, it certainly is. Started up by Precision iRacing team. The relatively new team that's come onto the scene, and they've decided to make their mark by helping to host this new championship, which I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, and of course you'll be in the booth for the season as well, which will be really good to have you in the booth, and Cameron Dance jumping in alongside you. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you two boys go with that one. It'll be really fun. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it too. It's I don't think I've ever commentated on open wheel racing before, so it'll be a nice change.
Will be. I think the only open wheel stuff you may have done would be possibly jumping in for a couple of racer championships way back in the day, when you're just sort of hanging around in the background.
Perhaps. I think for Race of Champions I was usually driving and getting taken out, though.
By me.
Really?
Every Race of Champions I was in, I used to take everyone out. I was hopeless. Do you remember Matthew Barron used to put L plates on my car liveries for Race of Champions?
I remember that.
Yeah, and, very famously at Miami Speedway road course, I took out the entire field from the race lead by locking up the legend.
Ah, yes.
One of the most infamous moments in V8's online history. Hey, the gap between second and third. Hey, I'm happy to bag myself out.
The Bants never. The Bants is infinite
high.
and eternal.
Yeah. Down to under 2 seconds. Second and third in GTE.
Yeah, certainly is. So for George Gibbs Jr. in the broadcast chat, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, it'd be 4:30 in the morning Eastern time for the Americans.
Big mistake there from Mansell. He's going to give up a couple of tenths, and right on cue as well. Through comes one of the leading cars in the third place Redback Racing Team car. They're going to catch these two GTEs right at the moment. They'll come together for potentially the last 2 spots on the podium.
Indeed. Oh, Seb getting very crossed up over the crest. He'll probably get by Hyde at the hairpin here very easily.
Doesn't put up too much of a fight. Seb, big moment. Oh, just a bit of contact with the wall.
Oh, hitting the tyres again.
Do I need to do a replay?
Nah,
don't do it. Got it live. That's good enough. Hey, have a look at the battle in GT3 as well.
Yeah.
Birds catching very, very quickly. 2.6 seconds last lap.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Alex is a new addition to our team, and he's definitely shown his worth. He's a very quick guy.
Don't want to put the mods on this, but Lewis Gallon's starting to have some internet issues.
Uh-oh.
Right on cue. So this is the closest battle now. This is for the last 2 spots on the podium in GT3. 9 minutes left in this race. Not long to go. Battle for second and third in GTE is also tight. At the moment it's 1.6 seconds. Bird's going to get this job done very soon. Looks very racy.
Yeah, he certainly does. Please don't take each other out, guys. Please.
Did say before that Daryl Carter just keeps on putting in laps, still out there going along. Anything can and often does happen. I'm not going to put the commentator's curse because I haven't said anything about it.
If that were to happen, I would have to find you and make sure an accident happened to you, Jay.
Alright, I'll see you at the 12 hour next year.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if I'll be attending next year, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get back there again. Love going to the 12 hour and catching up with everyone.
Yeah, well,
I think
you
here we
don't
go.
want to miss it 2 years in a row.
No. Oh, no. Can confirm that Mr. Sandman will be there again next year.
Indeed.
Here comes Bird.
Oh,
Throw it
yeah.
up the inside. Here he goes.
Oh, no.
How's your heart rate now, Reese?
Don't ask.
Oh! I thought they were going to have contact through the mid-corner. And back in the line he goes.
I'm really not in the mood for this.
Oh, and off the track goes Thomas. And great run goes Bird. Daryl Carter's just in behind them watching, hoping that something happens. Thomas defends.
Thomas going protective.
Oh,
Bird round the outside.
Big deep move. Over and under. It's too hard to get over and under there because then you're on the outside for this little kink. You're too far up against the outside wall. Only one line through there. We've got 6 or just under 7 minutes to go. Lewis Gallon is now on lap 101.
Only a short amount of time left in this race, but we still have some positions left to be decided, and they are for podium positions in 2 classes. Looks like the battle for the GTE podium is spaced out a bit. Hyde is not as close to Mansell as he once was.
It's at about 1.8 seconds at the moment, so that battle has died off a little, in saying that it will only take 1 lap car to come through at the wrong spot for that battle to be on once again. Right on cue, there's Seb coming back through again.
Oh, Fusion Sim Racing side by side through the S's. Please,
Oh,
guys.
no.
Please. No. There we go.
Oh.
Alexander Bird through.
Through. There you go. Clicking the wrong button here on my computer. I'm doing well here. Seb Murray Westberg coming through. Oh. He's definitely on the limit.
And the hairpin
Oh.
manages to slow it down in time this time around.
Yep. Had to, because there was a car there. They weren't going to be able to move. I'm going to say 4 to go. At a guess. 10.3 seconds. Yeah, I think it has to be about that. 10.3 seconds at the front. The gap between the first 2 in DP. Gap between the first 2 in GTE is 1 full lap. Amazing.
Meanwhile, oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Trent spun. Ah!
While Reese has a mild heart attack and recovers, we'll get a replay of that.
Ah. Okay. Well, that was just as the GTE second and third was coming up to them, and oh man, Trent just got loose over the curb and very heavily into the wall.
So that battle's ended, but that's closed up the GTE battle, which we'll go to after this replay. Oh, tell you what, Mansell was lucky to not make contact there as well. Hopefully Thomas still has enough speed in that car to get home with only 4 minutes left, a full lap advantage. This is the battle after 146 minutes of racing for second and third in GTE.
And it's really closed up. Sorry for the pauses. I'm just taking the time to dry my tears.
He's just had to go and find the box of tissues and
Oh man, this battle
Those
though.
tiers will be for sale in the V8's online shop in the coming weeks.
Yes, indeed. Jar of Reese Gardner tears with extra salt on sale at a discount in the V8's online store for the next few weeks. Come and pick up your jar. The discount code PR-SaltyReese17.
Oh, you've lost me now. I've got no train of thought left at all now.
Jay, mate, I've lost myself. I don't even know.
Oh my!
It always ends up getting like this at the end of these races, doesn't
it?
It's round about this, the 2.5 hour mark. I think it's fortunate that that Clint Smith has reduced the race length such so it means that the viewers don't have to suffer our increasing loopiness in the last half hour of a 3-hour race. But that GTE battle is still very close.
Is it bad that I hope no one comes in for interviews because I've got no idea if I could ask them a question?
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to say either.
Oh, I can't concentrate anymore. I've completely lost. I've got 2 minutes left in the race. The front of GTE has...
All Hyde just went off a little bit.
Of DP just behind, I'm fairly sure. Yep, that's Lewis Gallon coming through. Now, if Gallon can get up to Mansell and gets through at the wrong point for Mansell, the right point for Hyde, this could play into Hyde's head here.
Yeah, have a look at this. Mansell's going wide.
This has
However,
helped
he
Hyde
will
big
get a bit
time.
of a jump.
Be 2 laps to go in across the line, I'm fairly sure. Which will mean that we'll do 106 laps in this race. Oh, big moment!
Hyde. Oh,
He's going to have a slowdown penalty for that too, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, there we go. He's lifted off.
Oh, and there's a car in the fence. That's Seb Murray-Westberg.
Oh, no.
Now, they'll get the white flag this time around because there is less than 70 seconds on the clock.
Yep, so I think this battle in GTE is going to be the one to watch on the last lap. Mason Hyde can smell that second place.
So, quick
It's
replay
right in
of
front of him.
Seb's incident.
Very unfortunate to end up in the wall that late in the race.
Actually, looks like he's kept it off the wall.
Hyde running off once again.
He's pushing hard, isn't he?
He's abandoned all semblance of obeying track limits in his pursuit of Paul Mansell.
Seb Murray-Westberg in the pit, so he's decided to park it. Nothing left to gain. Plenty to lose if he puts it in the wall again, so he's packed it up for the night. They'll pick up a podium.
Certainly will. The battle though, Hyde closing up majorly on Mansell and the hairpin. Now they got the latter half of the circuit. Oh, Hyde, just a little bit of a mistake on the exit.
This is hurting.
Losing traction. Only chance he'll get is if he... Gonna go off again, isn't he?
Yep. Oh, big
Goodness
drift
me.
as well. We'll
There's
go
no
back to the
actual
front.
advantage to doing that though, which...
All you do is lose time.
Do, but Luis Paulo Gallon, what can you say? He's continuing to show his mastery of this Daytona prototype. He takes the overall win and the Daytona prototype win. Meanwhile, behind him, it looks like
and does
Paul
the
Mansell.
fastest lap of the race on the last lap too.
Wow, great. What time was that? At 21.758. Wow.
Great
Well,
lap.
Paul Mansell's going to hold off Jason Hyde for second place in GTE.
Ross Rizzo will cross the line next in regards to our race leaders. He's actually coming up right onto the back of the Fusion Sim racing cars who have lined in a formation. He's going to let them finish their lap first. So he's not going to finish a full lap ahead. But a great drive from Ross Rizzo to pick up the win in that class. Something's happened to Paul Mansell on the last lap.
They've already finished.
Oh, okay. Yes, they have. Oh, shut up.
Yeah,
That was anticlimactic.
We've
already
go
covered
over that.
Yeah, we did, because they were right behind the leader. Here comes Ryan O'Sullivan to finish this race.
Yes.
They've been completely dominant in GTE, winning by a full lap.
What can you say about ERT? They managed to claw their way back from the jaws of defeat more than once. And, wow, absolutely dominant victory in GTE. Fantastic stuff.
Last car to finish, so we might run through the results. We've got the DP results on screen. Lewis Gallon in the HRS TTR car picks up the win over Talking by 10 seconds in the end with the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. Great drive from him. Redback Racing Team with Seb Murray-Westberg and Warren Pickering. They pick up third. PMS number 67 with Clint Smith at the wheel. Got to halfway and finished up. He feeling a bit crook, so he's finished in 4th position. Scotty Harris had a very unfortunate night. He's finished 5th position, and then 2 did not starts in that class.
In the GTE class, the dominant victory from Evolution Racing Team in the number 116 with Blake Nick and Ryan O'Sullivan driving that car. Paul Mansell and Guy Leach brought home the Sky VR46 Racing Team car in 2nd place. Meanwhile, Performance Motorsports came very close to taking that 2nd place from them. Jason Hyde and Wayne Taylor driving a very good race. 4th place, Natari Autosports. 5th place, Proforce Racing GTI number 185. Sean Thompson toughing it out for the whole race there. And Laser Racing's Michael Hammond disconnected about 29 laps from the end. And Evolution Racing Team number 125, Scott Larnack, just had an absolutely horrid night, which he will not be very happy about for sure. So he'll be taking stock and looking to bounce back at the next round.
Yeah, GT3 results. We've got Ross Rizzo, who drove a fantastic race. Picks up the win, almost a full lap ahead of the Fusion Sim Racing cars, with Alexander Bird in 2nd, Trent Thomas in 3rd. Daryl Carter picks up 4th position. 1 lap behind them, we've got Jeff Rahali and Dylan Shepherd, who DNF'd after some unfortunate incidents that they were involved in. But overall, a very enjoyable night of racing.
Yeah, certainly was. Just, action from start to finish. Kept up a steady level of action throughout the race, which I found very welcoming. And, yeah, I think in that respect, the pit stop and race length changes have benefited the series. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and yeah, I'm really impressed with how this broadcast turned out.
Yeah, I am too. It's actually been a lot of fun, and sadly it'll be the last broadcast for this series at this stage. We won't be broadcasting this series for the next few weeks. We may be back later in the season, but next week I might even have a race myself in this series, so we'll see how we go. But next broadcast will be tomorrow night, where we will have the Formula Renault series. Thursday we've got IMSA. Sunday we're back with Carrera Cup Australia. I'm looking forward to that. I know you are too, Reece.
Oh yes,
and
but
then,
always good to get back into some Carrera Cup racing.
Yeah, and then next Monday we'll have the V8 Supercar official series. We're off to Imola this week in the V8, so that'll be good fun as well. So this week for IMSA, I'm fairly sure is Mosport.
Yep, that's correct.
And tomorrow night in the Formula Renault, we're off to Laguna Seca.
Fantastic stuff. So we got a full roster here at V8's Online for the next couple of weeks. Make sure that you join us for all of that, and we really hope that you enjoyed this broadcast as well. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, V8's Online on all of those separate platforms, and be sure to check out v8sonline.com to keep up with all the latest news of our broadcasts and the Australia-New Zealand iRacing community in general. We hope you enjoy this broadcast. I've been Reece Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box and broadcasting, directing has been Jay Kennedy. You've been watching the Midweek Sportscar Championship here on V8's Online. We'll see you next time.